Hello and welcome along to the new look Saturday Sports Rundown Betalong. How's everybody getting on this evening?
Yeah, great. That'll be great.
I'm looking forward to seeing how we look on screen. I've no idea aside from the green screen behind me.
Yeah, it's a jump into the unknown here for us. So anyone who's watching who might have seen any of our earlier shows will notice this looks distinctly different from anything that's gone before. So hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it's got all the information that you're looking for. So we're gonna try this new version of the Sports Rundown Betalong for the foreseeable, at least the MLS season here. So yeah, we suppose we can kick the show off with the weekly ACA. It's been going pretty well the last couple of Fridays and Saturdays. So Slats, you want to give us a quick rundown of the Saturday night Betalong?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, the three of us have kind of gone researching one bet each ourselves, and we've combined it then into an accumulator that it's paying, I think, about 13 or 14 to 1. So yeah, I'll go through each bet. Like my bet was the Real Madrid-Real Betis game. It's kicking off in half an hour. Madrid are home, and they had a poor enough start to the season. They're you're taking a reduction in your odds, but it just covers more outcomes. Obviously, over 2.5 covers both teams to score a win, but it also covers a few, Real clean sheets. So that's my pick. The next up is the SerieA game, Sassuolo versus Sampdoria, which is your pick, LB. There's, looking at the two teams, it's almost guaranteed for goals anyway. There's going to be a lot of goals here. 20 goals in Sassuolo's last 6 games, and they've scored in 10 consecutive home games in the league. Sampdoria, like, their games haven't been as high scoring, but they've scored in 10 of their last 12 away games, and most of those away games have seen both teams scoring, so they have that kind of capacity to score and concede on the road. So the head-to-head between them, Sassuolo, like they're consecutively sitting on the table 6th and 7th, but 8th and 9th rather, but there's 7 points between them. So, although they're kind of side by side on the table, Sassuolo are 7 points ahead and kind of look the better team. LB, you're expecting the home win here, and based on Sassuolo's home form as well, it looks likely enough, but both teams to score does look very likely here as well, with that away record for Sampdoria scoring on the road. So the combination of Sassuolo to win and both teams to score is 23 to 10. I think actually I'll be like a lot of your recent bets in these ACAs, when you send them on to me, I think you sent this on at slightly better odds than that. Maybe it was 12 to 5 or something a bit better. Yeah, but you do, when you send them on to me, and when I go to put this article together up on our Sports Rundown website, your picks tend to have come in an awful lot. Like, I would say almost every time what you send me on and the odds on it.
I'm going to start screenshotting them in case there's an implication there that I'm buffing up my odds.
Well, I went on the article. I went with what was available at the time I put the article together, because you wouldn't want to be pumping out an article with stale prices on it. But
no,
yeah, consistently now when you send them on to me, it's only like 12 to 24 hours before the article is published, and generally, your SerieA picks come in from that. Like, there's definitely, you've consistent insight into value in that league, like. And then Gary's game.
On that note, anyone who's been looking at our site recently, we've got another SerieA contributor up on the site, and there's a goals bet tonight that just absolutely walked in the over 3.5 in the Parma game today. That was the easiest 3.5 I've ever seen in a bet. So
Yeah,
that was a
half
lovely
time, was
start.
it?
Yeah.
Unreal. The last bet is actually underway already, and we're always eager not to be after timing on this show, where you're kind of staying in your bed after it's come in or after it's on the way. But this article was posted yesterday. Also, the market itself, the bet itself, there's no after timing going on. It's still 0-0. It's Gary's pick. Cobh Ramblers are hosting Bray Wanderers in the League of Ireland. So yeah, Gary,
surely there's a joke in there with the Ramblers and the Wanderers together.
I felt there was something. Yeah, I'd already kind of come up with the headline of the article based on the two more prominent leagues and games playing. I didn't even include the League of Ireland game in the headline at all. But,
and I like the real sassy. That was good.
Yeah, we try our best with our headline puns, in fairness to us. So yeah, it's still 0-0 there. This was like a lot of our picks, are kind of heavy on the stat basis. I kind of like the ones, and Gary, you've been decent at the kind of gut feel plays with the League of Ireland calls. Obviously you send on your picks to me, and I kind of have to write them up, but and there's less to kind of write about it when it's a gut feel play, but you've certainly been returning those ones.
It does put an awful lot of weight on the article compiler there.
It does,
They are going to win.
Exactly. It's just
because
this is what I think is going to happen. I go digging into the stats then, and it's like there's not a huge amount to go by. Now, in fairness, if you were looking at last season's games, like Cobh lost 5 of their last 6 home games. I think that's a couple of pre-season friendlies and then the tail end of last season, and then Bray are unbeaten in 8 games on the road, which again is a few games from last season and the early start to this season. They've 5 wins and 3 draws. So
something
there
we
are
can consider over the summer. That is there any hint or semblance or statistical kind of significance to form carrying over those breaks or not? Does it mean anything? Is there actually teams that finish the season well start the following season a bit better?
Yeah, I'd say it's a difficult one to track, because some teams will have a lot of change over the course of the summer with transfers. You'd have to take that into account as well.
Yeah,
who they've brought in and who they've how they've changed over from one season on to the next, if they've got a bit of a surge of a bit of money to splurge around, or if they're kind of much the same as they were last season. So it's kind of a difficult one to really put a lot of merit into, but Bray, they're favourites for the win, but they're even money, so it's still a pretty decent return, especially when you're kind of multiplying it up with 2 other games. So yeah, looking at the stats so far, it's kind of been balanced enough. But Bray have definitely been on top, and the shots, they've had a few more shots on and off target than Cobh have. So it's heading toward half time at 0-0, but we're in for Bray at evens. You'd get better money if you were just getting on that now, of course. Bray are 8-5 now for the win, going toward half time.
Nice.
And yeah, like I said, the ACCA overall pays 13-1, so that's Bray to win, Sassuolo to win with both teams scoring, and Real to win with over 2.5 goals in the game.
So just to avoid any after timing as well, I've got it. There's a bet up on the screen there, very similar to that, but I don't have the League of Ireland one. I've got in both teams to score. So I've actually changed it to over 2.5 in the headline game for us tonight, Toronto against Vancouver. So if you do see me celebrating goals in that game, and you're not sure why, it's because of that treble. So it's the SAS in both teams to score, Madrid and over 2.5, and then just the 2.5 goals in the Canadian game. So just getting that on the record there in case anything happens.
Yeah, you need to get them out early. I don't know whether you have to put some of the bets that I have on up either, LB, but I did the
your treble is up there now, Gary, for sure.
So the treble is the Betalong treble. So I think Slats has kind of covered that. But I did another one which is like a bet builder in each of the MLS games. So it's it starts with New York City versus Cincinnati, and I had over 2.5 goals and over 10 corners in that game. So New York are 4-0 up in the 75th minute. So the 2.5 is in. The last time I checked, there was 9 corners. So I need 2 corners in the last 15 minutes to get that one over the line. So then that rolls on to bet builders in the other games. So there's the likes of Lille for Lille to score for Nashville over 9 corners in that game. Both teams to score in the Nashville game, and Nashville are actually 1-0 down to Montreal. So that's going fairly decent as well. I'm going to check just how many corners in that game. So there's 4 corners in that game, and it's still the first half as well. So it's looking promising. And then the other ones, I won't call them out now, but it gets into the Toronto and Vancouver game, and then it will leave us to the Earthquakes and the Dallas game.
We'll get that up on our socials, Gary. It's a bit big. It's a bit of a shopping list, so hard to get it up on the screen for the stream, but we'll get it on our socials so anyone who's watching along here can track that with us.
Yeah,
it looks very achievable.
Yeah, I'll stick it out on socials now, so everyone can see.
Yeah, and then you've also done a fourfold that I really like to look at that one. Actually, you've got the Maupay leg in that one.
Yeah, so that was kind of like my safe bet. So like, you know, you in your kind of article for our treble, you pointed out, you know, the benefits of Sassuolo, so I won't go into that again. In my Premier League rundown, so anybody who is following our kind of our content on SportsRunDown.com will know that we do a Premier League rundown every week. I did the rundown this week, providing, you know, a little bit of a preview of the games, and then the bets that I think are good. So I called out Maupay and that against Sheffield United. I think like Brighton are due to give somebody a real good beating. They've been playing so well, dominating possession, creating chances. They just haven't been able to finish them off. So I think that could turn into a big win for Brighton tonight. Then Toronto to beat the Whitecaps. This is a bit of a dodgy leg. Like, Toronto didn't play that great last week. I know they rested a few players and things like that. And Montreal are obviously beating Nashville now, so they're kind of bumping that form, if you will. But it's still, I wouldn't be as confident as I should be about a 7-10 shot, but I still think they're going to win. And as I said, I've Nashville in there. They're 1-0 down to Montreal now, but they have been, like, since they've gone 1-0 down, they've just been continuously on the attack. They've had one cleared off the line. They've had a penalty shot there a minute ago. I'm watching it here. So even though Nashville are 1-0 down, I expect them to come back. But I'd like them to get a goal in the next kind of.
Anyone who's watching this show will realize that's the game we have up on the screen at the minute. It's not the headline game for us tonight, which is the Toronto-Vancouver game. But yeah, in the meantime, when that kicks off, we've got Nashville up there. And anyone who's watching the show will see that it's basically been Nashville attack, Nashville dangerous attack over and back. I don't think I've seen anything except Nashville on the screen. So it's been all them the last little while. Hopefully they pull one back early for you, Gary. Right, well, look, I'm looking at the time here, and we've got a quarter of an hour until the big game kicks off, our head-to-head. So what we can do is give a quick breakdown of what the head-to-head is for anyone. We see we've got a few viewers here on YouTube who are watching with us, and they might not be familiar, if you're new to the show, what the head-to-head is. So we take a game of the night. So tonight we're taking the Toronto-Vancouver game, and we line up various.
So there might be a small bit of a technical issue there with LB dropping off, was there?
Yeah, he seems to have dropped, yeah. So
yeah. We can continue. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I'll fire on and explain the concept of it. We'll need LB to get back here to to get things back on track. But basically, we picked like 11 markets in this game, in our headlining game, which is that MLS game, the Vancouver Whitecaps at Toronto. So we pick 11 markets that are basically even money, whichever side you go on it. So, you know, a throw in the first minute, yes or no, it's kind of a coin toss either way. A goal kick in the first 4 and a corner in the first 6. And then we've, you know, raced the corners, raced the shots, and then a few markets that go into the second half of the game, a corner between 45 and 50 and a shot between 50 and 55. So we pick 11 markets that are all as close as we can get to even money. And as we'll go through now, it'll be, you know, myself and LB picking which side of those, taking turns at picking which markets we think are more favourable, or which we just kind of have a fancy on, and picking our side of that market. And then as the game goes on, we compete the first to 6 or the best of 11 of those markets, whoever comes out on top wins that head-to-head. I think you're back with us, LB.
Yeah,
I gave a bit of a description on it there, but
I caught that.
I think that captures the gist of it anyway.
Yeah, so what we'll do tonight is Gary's going to do a coin toss for us.
Maybe LB isn't back with us. I thought I saw him back up on screen, but
I see him back there.
Yeah, can you hear me, Slats?
I can hear you all right, LB.
All right, maybe there was a slight issue there. Yeah, so what we'll do tonight is Gary will do a coin toss. We'll see who goes first, and then.
So yeah, Gary, you've been dominating the head-to-head competition the last few weeks.
Yeah, I don't want to make it boring for the viewers by me winning all the time, so I said I'd give someone else a chance this week.
Yeah, we were calling it the third place playoff already.
Which is pretty grim, considering.
Which is basically last of the three of us. But
so I have the coin here. So Queen's head being heads and the other side being tails. I think they're thistles. So who wants to go? LB, you're our leader here, so I'll let you have the.
I'll take heads. I'll take heads.
Okay. Heads it is.
Fantastic. Right. So, this is I get the first pick, and then Slats gets 2 after that, and we take it from there. So I'm going to go goal kick in the first 4 minutes. Yes, that's my pick 1.
Up to you, Slats.
So I'm going to go for. I think I'll go on those early markets again and go with a goal kick in the first 4 minutes, yes, and a corner in the first 6 minutes, yes, as well.
I had taken the goal kick in the first 4 minutes, Slats.
I think he's having technical issues there, is he?
He must be. Yeah, we'll just pause that for a moment. We'll come back to
it.
We can move on. They don't usually tend to kick off right at 8 o'clock anyway, so we should have a couple of minutes before.
Yeah, we'll give him a minute. Are you keeping an eye on that League of Ireland game at the moment?
I think it might be you that has the issue.
Yeah, we're just going to put a holding video on for our viewers there. So please do stick with us.
Sorry.
A couple of minutes.
I can't hear LB, but you're saying he's there, is he?
So yeah, please do stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
So what's happening? Me and you were just going to be back
so
online?
we're back now on air, me and Slats, and apologies for any little confusion there we might have had with the viewers, but hopefully everything is behind us now. So I went first. I picked a goal kick in the first 4 minutes, and then Slats went second, and he also picked that, but we've discussed it off air, and I'm going to stick with my first pick. So the next one,
now.
Yeah. So you get 2 now, Slats.
Yeah, so my guess was that you had gone for the throw-in in the first minute. So I'm going to go yes on the throw-in and yes on the corner in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, they're pretty. It's a good one to go for the goal kick or the throw in the first minute, but between that and the 4 minutes one, so I've taken that. Right, I'm going to take the shot between 50 and 55. Yes.
That was my next pick, yeah.
Oh, okay. I've come out on the wrong side of that one too many times.
Me too. I feel that's the one that swung up for Gary the last few times.
Yeah, and I'm going to take Toronto in the race to shots. I've got a feeling Toronto are going to win this one after a stodgy last week, so I kind of want to get that on there.
Right, yeah, that's kind of those are definitely 2 that I was eager to go for. I might try and balance out that race to shots with a race to corners for Toronto as well. And God, do I want to go in heavy on the corners? I'll go a corner between 45 and 50 minutes as well.
Okay, corner between 45 and 50 minutes. Yes. Okay, very good. So that's all the early ones. The race to corners and that. So there's game total corners, both teams to score over 2.5 in game results. So I'm going to take over 2.5 goals. Yes. And now my debate is: do I go in heavy on that and take both teams to score as well, and risk that? You know what? I am going to Saturday night. I'm going to take the bold decision. I'm going both teams to score and over 2.5. So I'm taking both of those markets. And you now over to you.
I am in so heavy on corners already. I might as well stick with it and go over 10.5 corners, and I'll go game result Toronto, seeing as you've kind of gone in a bit on them.
A game result Toronto. Yeah.
Balance things out toward the end.
Over the corners, right. So that's pretty good. So I'll populate the offsetting ones there before we get on air, so our viewers know what's going on. But to anyone who's new to the show, you're looking at the picks up on the screen there. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Will there be a throw in the first minute? Stats has gone yes there. I've taken no. And then they work their way down, so they're all self-explanatory. There's no need to run through the list. It's an exciting one. I'm kind of hoping now that the first minute is a quiet little minute, and then they hoof the ball down the field as a goal kick on about 65 seconds, and then I get 2 wins early out the gate because I've handicapped myself on a few of the last ones. But anyway, we'll get back to that later on. So that's, have you got any bets picked out for the rugby tonight, or just going to have it on the background as a watch game?
I mean, yeah, I can see Munster up 7-3. I we've, as well as I do, LB, we've done too poorly against Leinster over the last few years. I'm certainly not going to be back in Leinster, but I wouldn't want to add to the heartbreak of losing to them by actually putting money on Munster to win either.
Yeah.
I turned it on too late to see who scored that opening try for Munster, but it's good to see them scoring in the matches that we've played against them recently. Munster have kind of done well early and taken a lead, maybe just like a 3-0 lead, but the games have been so tight that, so low scoring. It's kind of been 1 try to 0 or 2 tries to 1 for a lot of the recent matches, with Leinster kind of coming out on top, just, a few occasions, just 1 try to 0. So, just for Munster to get on the scoreboard is at least a promising start on the scoreboard in terms of try scoring, not just taking a couple of penalties and that.
Yeah. Just for anyone watching the football here, Montreal, Montreal have scored again and kind of caught Nashville on the old, you overcommit, you're chasing the game, and then the old sucker punch concede on the counter. So it is. I actually didn't see if it was a counter attack now specifically, so don't want to be called out by any eagle-eyed viewers. But 2-0 down, it's a big ask now for Gary and that bet to come back, unfortunately.
I've got one for you here, I'd just be interested to see your take. This is just a broad, like, gambling, considerations. We talk about red cards a lot. So I'm looking at the Galatasaray game in the Turkish Premier League. The Galatasaray are away. They were favourites from the start, and I was kind of watching them, like they're dominating the shots. Looking at the shots, Antalyaspor, if that's how you pronounce it,
the other team scored.
Have one shot in the game, and Galatasaray have 14 shots, 6 of them on target. They've 84 dangerous attacks to 17, so they've been dominating throughout the game. And I was kind of watching their odds drift, and I was hoping they'd get out to kind of even money around 60 or 70 minutes to back them. But then just before 60 minutes, Antalyaspor had a red card, and that's kind of put Galatasaray into 1-2 now. So like they're still going at it. They're still dominating. We've talked before about, how a red card, even if it's for the underdogs, or if it's if it's the team, the favourites, are now playing 11 versus 10. They were favourites to begin with. It's not always a benefit, because it kind of can galvanise the opposition.
There's just no scenario where I think it's a good thing for the bet. I think even like Barcelona at home to some small team and the other crowd get a man sent off, it doesn't make the win more likely, in my opinion. I don't know, it's just not worth it, really. So for me, it's an absolute avoid.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to get in on Galatasaray, but
at 1-2. Yeah. Well, so we've got a new thing up on the screen here. We've got our daily profit, $20. So slightly misnomer, maybe it's not a profit at the moment. It's our starting point. So we're going to have the £20 challenge, or the $20 challenge that we've had every other week, where we've taken it us against each other. We've simplified it a bit this week. We're going to just have a more straightforward wheel, just see what we can do with the 20 quid over the course of the show. So Slats, you can be the nominated bet one if you want to put that 20 quid on the high risk, low reward Ray card bet that you called out for us there.
Yeah. That's the problem. If it was out beyond evens now, I'd be all over it. 11 against 11 at evens, I'd be delighted. But 11 against 10 at 1, it's just kind of
not worth it.
Oh, hang on, it's suspended here now with a Galatasaray attack. Shot off target. Oh God! So they didn't score. That's only pushing me further to get on it. But no, look, we've talked about it too much now that it's a bad idea. So I could only regret it at 1-2. Not worth it. I still think they go on to win that game. There's still just over 20 minutes left, but it's just a little too risky for, as you're saying, low return, high risk.
It's funny. I was actually going to say it. I don't want to talk about it now, and Gary's not on the air with us, because it was about Gary earlier. But he had said, he made some reference to there was Nashville are losing to Vancouver, and basically said it's given some credit to their form because they beat them last week. And I was like, it's so clearly that he's a horse racing background when he talks about adding that kind of form in. But yeah, I think 1-2s, like not all 1-2s are the same, and I think a home favourite who were evens a minute ago getting half their value taken off them is definitely not.
They're actually away, just to add that into the mix.
Yeah. The home team then going to fight for their lives to keep on. No, absolutely not going.
I think what if you are nominating me, and I'm going to kind of turn it around and steal your own pick, but I know we've gone with Sassuolo to win against Sampdoria with both teams scoring, but just the first half goal there, they've already both had a shot on target. They've both had a few attacks and a few shots, and one each on target. It's 1.63 on the exchange, 63% return for there to be a first half goal. It's 14 minutes in. I think in the next half hour, and we spoke about those stats, like Sassuolo, 20 goals across their last 6 games. I mean, unless we don't want to be going at the kind of odds-on markets.
No, I like it. I think it's a solid one to get us going.
I think 10 of our 20 could go on that. I'd like to double it up with something, but given the time and that we're kicking off on the MLS game, maybe just go with that, let it run for the next half hour and see how we get on.
All right, we're just kicking off here in the MLS one, so we'll get tracking that. The players are walking out onto the pitch, so we probably got about 60, 90 seconds before this one kicks off. For anyone who's watching the show, particularly any kind of long-term MLS and MLS fans or watchers, maybe let us know why all the MLS games always seem to kick off late and how it is not accounted for in the kick-off times. It seems I'd be much more expecting that European games would be the ones kicking off late and the American ones would kick off exactly as scheduled, but it just seems to catch us out a bit here from time to time. There's quite a variety in the delays as well. So
the game we covered last week, it was about 20 minutes after the schedule.
I think it was even closer to half an hour. Yeah,
was it? Jeez, yeah. It's so rare that you would see that with probably like any European football, really. You know, especially the kind of top tier of European football, that it'll be kicking off more than like 2 or 3 minutes after the scheduled time.
Yeah. Welcome back, Gary. Good back to have you.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry about that. A slight technical issue, but all resolved now.
The Deliveroo man was at the door. That was your technical issue.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, our viewers were just the sound of a Domino's pizza being devoured in the background for the last 10 minutes under the guise of technical issues. I'm not sure if you saw it, Gary, when you were fixing your stuff, that there was a second goal in the Nashville game. Unfortunately, went against.
Yeah, I thought disappointing, but Montreal have had some great start to the season now. You know.
Yeah, flying.
Underrated.
Yeah, big time.
I can hear your comment about the horse racing as well. So.
Oh, it's true though. It was funny when you said it. I was like, that really sounds like you could tell that you're racing back. And I forget what way you said it. It add some weight to the form or something like that.
Yeah, probably doesn't work the same in football, but.
The reason it actually stuck with me was because I was looking at racing TV the other day, and they were talking about. Someone said, "Oh, he's an even money favorite," and they used that phrase, and I just thought that. In football, an even money favorite is kind of like he's not really a favorite. He's still only even money. But then in racing, it's such a different type of even money. Obviously, it's the same odds, but it's such a different feel to it.
Yeah,
I think we've talked about it before as well. Like if somebody gives you a tip for a horse that's like 2-1, the 2-1 favorite in a race, you're fully confident it's going to win. If it doesn't win, you feel like it's the worst advice you've gotten in your life. But then at 2-1 in a football game, and if you call that and it comes off, you feel like you've made a real insightful decision on the match. It's funny, just the variation of it.
Yeah, but even the longer odds, like a 12-1 horse, it's like, oh, he's an outsider, but it's still pretty doable. If you gave someone a 12-1 football bet, you'd just be like, what has he been smoking over there? Like, exactly, we had it with Leon last season, Gary, in the Champions League, and in my mind, Leon were probably a 5-2 shot that night. Not 12-1 against City. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a great bet we got up that night. It's about spotting those kind of pieces of value, and back to the kind of Montreal game, kind of disappointed with myself that I didn't believe their result against Toronto last week. I kind of wrote them off, which obviously I'm paying the price for now. But they might be a team to follow at for a while, while the bookies kind of catch up.
Yeah.
They're not the sexy team like Orlando. They're haven't really set the ground or set the world alight for their start of the season, but they get all the publicity because they have the likes of Nani and those guys, and LAFC with Vea, etc. There's the smaller clubs without the superstars might go under the radar for a bit,
Yeah. That's exactly what you want to see with when you're betting. You know what I mean? Just people not picking up on these things. Yeah. So speaking of the big names in the MLS, I saw that the Pato injury last week. He's not going to require surgery, I think, which is what the original fear was. So hopefully that turns out to be less severe than initially expected.
Yeah, that would be good. It looked bad at the time, so fingers crossed that it's actually something that he can recover from soon. Because I'd like to see him get back at some stage this season. And I think we talked about it last week about it's very interesting to see how he actually gets on this season now. Whether he was he was going to get back to his old form at in SerieA, or whether he was going to be just there for a kind of a holiday and take it easy. So be interesting to see.
Yeah. So for anyone who's watching the show, we're going to move on from the Nashville Montreal game. It's halftime there anyway, so that you're not going to miss any action. We're going to get on the this Vancouver.
Any sign of the Toronto game kicking off now, Elby?
No, it's what you call it. They're just doing the pre-game, graphics and kind of intro videos.
You must be a little bit behind my stream, LB. I can see them. They've just kicked off, so we're into the first minute.
Okay, I'll leave you watch that one. So Gary, let's keep it nice and clean for the viewers.
Yeah.
So
you said that it's like Gary normally like curses his head off when he's watching the match.
Let's keep it clean.
Keep it nice and clean now, Gary, for the viewers.
Yeah.
Like, Galatasaray just scored. I was going to say I've never seen a game go suspended as often as it has over the last 5, basically since I mentioned that game. Although it's still suspended after that goal, so maybe it's been reviewed.
Yeah, VAR has just put a different complexion on when you see that, suspended goal. You're celebrating, and then you look back at your phone a couple of minutes later, and it's back to 0-0. You're like, what happened to my bet?
I backed over 2.5 in the Valencia game earlier on. It finished 1-1. And there was at least 2, I think potentially 3 disallowed goals in that match. And they came up on the screen. I was delighted, and then gone. You're just like, oh God. So for
one I'll be sorry where you actually got the cash out on a bet, like they
that was
they offered the cash out on a bet.
It was a French Ligue 1 game 2 weeks ago. And it turned out that the last goal actually came again afterwards, but the goal went in. It updated. I saw it. I was like, I'm going to cash out here because I was watching it live, and for whatever reason, the rare scenario where the live feed is actually ahead of the bookies one, and I saw the players all turn and look up at the big screen, and I thought that's a VAR check, and my cash out was for about £2 less than my total payout. So I just took the cash out, and then as it was cashing out, the game went back suspended. VAR overruled the goal. So a lovely little feel-good moment for me there.
Nice getting one over in the bookies. That Galatasaray game is back on. They're up 1-0. So yeah,
we must be a minute in, Gary. Was there the throw in the first minute?
No, there wasn't. There was a corner for Toronto, but no throw. So yeah, I think you predicted that. Because it was already marked up on screen. Yeah,
so I get the win there, and it's a loss for Slats. But the corner in the first 6 minutes has come good for him. So that was nice.
So we're 1-0 now.
Yeah,
hopefully goal kick.
I want the corner to be headed straight out now for a goal kick. Be ideal.
It's so likely though, isn't it? Like it's so rare, I'd say, that a corner ends, without a goal or a goal kick. Probably 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Yes, defensive clearance or whatever, but
it's mad. Like there were 2 throw-ins, then like 2.5 minutes and 3 minutes, so 30 seconds between them, and throw-ins. So no good for you, lads. But it's mad how they come and kind of fits and spurts, like.
Yeah. That first half goal in the Italian game, Slats, I'm not sure if you actually officially picked that for their £20 challenge, but it's now nearly even money. Interestingly enough, there's only 20 minutes to go, I think, in that. I don't know who I guess you would call treasurer is in terms of placing these bets now. If we're doing combined, I know it was your duty for a while, LB.
I can do it here, Slats, so just call it out and I can put it on.
Gary, absolutely keen to make sure I'm not the one missing all the bets for it.
The only thing is, Sassuolo just scored, but it's gone back to 0-0. I think it's been disallowed. Yeah, I think it's been disallowed. It's 0-0 on my TV screen here, Slats. Okay, yeah. That always pushes me to get on the bet. You're like, geez, they're coming that close to scoring. It's coming. I'd say put £10 on a first half goal at just about evens, gets us up to 30 in the next 20 minutes. Would be my vote. If you're good to throw that on, Gary, yeah.
Sorry, what's that? £10 on a first half goal?
Yeah.
Okay, the whole market is suspended at the minute, but
yeah, I'm still seeing it suspended here as well. Yeah. But I mean, it's gone back to 0-0. Usually, if they're going to VAR for checking a goal, they kind of leave it at 1-0 until it's officially ruled out.
There's a small part of me that actually really hopes we've missed this, so that somebody else is just
So are we
delayed
doing
for 30 seconds.
10 or 20 LB?
I'd say 10. Just we don't want in case we have a bit of bad luck in the next 20 minutes and our
okay, it's on there. 5 to 6 was the odds we got, so that'll bring us up to 28-33 if the Swallow do the business.
Sounds good.
Toronto are very much on top in the first few minutes of the Vancouver game. So anybody who took the kind of just below even money will be happy with the start they've made. A lot better than last week, anyway.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Anyone who's watched the show before will know we had PK on there, and he's an avid Toronto fan, or he's certainly knowledgeable on Toronto. And it seems to be that the expectations are very high in Toronto. So hopefully they can kind of get it together a bit, because two bad results early in the season could be the heads go down at that stage, don't they?
Yeah, they still don't look to have like a proper full strength team out. So I think they've still got one eye on the CONCACAF Champions League. So it's probably best to stay away from them if you're thinking about having like heavy bets for the next while, just until things settle down. So it's such a long season. They're confident enough that they'll be able to qualify for the MLS playoffs. So I think they just want to progress in the CCL first.
I was just going to say that the the way that the schedule lines up over there, and you've got their version of the Champions League on as your season kicks off here, but then you've got a half dozen teams. And
sorry to cut across, LB, Toronto have just gone 1-0 up.
Oh, so nice.
Good attack down the right hand side, came in. There's a bit of a scramble in the box, and then it was just slotted home from about 6 yards. So yeah, it was a well-deserved goal from the way they started. But as I said, you could tell it was coming. So Luke Singh ended up getting the goal.
I assume that means my
no goal kick
in the first 4 minutes has gone against me.
I think so.
We confirmed that one. So anyway, that's a shot on target for Toronto, which is good for me. That's a shot anyway. I've got Vancouver in the draw, so kind of hopefully there was a little bit more of a time before Toronto raced into the lead. I would have a Vancouver going 1-0 up would have actually been the best thing for me there, Slats, because I've got both teams to score.
It puts me in the crap position of looking at those bottom three markets, the real 90-minute markets, both teams to score over 2.5 in game result. I just want everything to stay as it is now. I don't want both teams scoring. I don't want over 2.5, and I want Toronto to win. So
you've taken a 2-0 lead there. So you've got my goal kick in the first 4 minutes has gone against me, and in the corner you've got that already. So
but you got the throw in in the first minute as well. So
yeah, that's beginning to look like a lonely tick on my side. Not much else going with it. So we'll see.
It's early yet.
Just while you were talking there, lad, sorry, just in our Betalong treble, Bray Wanderers have just taken the lead. So
nice. Good call, Gary. The League of Ireland calls have been great. You didn't get enough credit for the Bows game last night. Your both teams to score, and I put the bet on, and then I put the phone down. I forget what I did, and I picked the phone up again about 10 minutes later, and it was 1-1. I was like, wow, that didn't take long at all. Or they didn't come in
so fast.
Unbelievable, yeah. Just for anyone viewing, I see there's a few people watching us at the minute, so do make sure to check out SportsRunDown.com. We put up various sort of rundowns and previews and tipping articles on the site, mostly tips really, and we do the SerieA. We have another kind of contributor who does a lot of SerieA bets. He's not on the show tonight. And then we do Irish football, the MLS, and most of the European leagues. So check them out. It's good. It's a lot of good tips up there, plenty of winning bets, and even if they don't win, you can see what way we're thinking and kind of get a peek behind the curtain as to what we're going to be betting on the air tonight as well. So make sure to check out SportsRundown.com.
Yeah, and as well as checking out SportsRundown.com, make sure to to like and subscribe this page. So we have 59 subscribers at the minute. It'd be great if we could get that up to near the 100 mark by the end of the night. So I said, if you are liking what you see, hit subscribe, hit the alert bell, and the next time we're on, we do these bet-alongs on a regular basis, usually weekly, but sometimes they'll be twice a week. So hit the alert bell, and you'll know then as soon as we go live.
Yeah, exactly, Gary. Nice one. The Sassuolo game, for anyone who's interested, has gone a little bit flat, which seems to happen almost exclusively as soon as we put a first half goal bet on. It's gone a little bit dull.
The first bet of the night tends to be,
yeah, the first half goals are just a tricky one, but plenty of value in them, so you can stand over them. Sas have kind of they run out of steam a little bit, so kind of hoping that Sampdoria put them under a bit of pressure, and then that wakes them up and they go for it now just before half time. So anyway, yep, that's the update on that game. How are Toronto looking, Slats? Gary?
Since Toronto have scored, the game has just been 50-50. Vancouver have a lot of the ball, but they're not really doing anything with it. Just interestingly, Sheffield United have just gone 1-0 up against Brighton in the English Premier League, so that's a big turn up for the Bucks. But in the Toronto game, it's kind of just settled down. So Vancouver are just playing along the back three at the moment, but they don't really have any attacking threats, or they haven't for the first few minutes of the game. So hopefully they're able to heat up a bit and add a bit of spice to the game, because if they don't, it could turn into a romp for Toronto.
Here's one for you. So Sheffield are 1-0 up, and they're still nearly 2-1 to win the game. They're 17-10, 1-0 up at home. That's just a crazy price.
Yeah, I think it's just because they've been so bad this season. It's a bit of a scrappy goal that they scored. I'm just seeing it here. David McGoldrick, good Irishman, scored it, so happy with that. But it's still a long way to go. Over 70 minutes left, so anything could really happen.
How have you guys? You got your fantasy MLS team set up for the weekend?
Yeah, so I did it last night. I have Chicharito brought in as my captain. So
me too. You must have seen me update, did you? I brought him in.
Well, my article on SportsRunDown.com is probably what you followed. So yeah, I brought Brad Guzan in as the keeper. So Chicago scored 2 goals last week, but they were very wasteful going forward. After that, they had loads of chances. I think they had 20 shots, but they most of them were horrendous shots. And I think Atlanta are better team. So you saw last week Orlando were able to kind of shut out Orlando, I think it was. So I fancy Guzan to keep a clean sheet and hopefully pick up a few extra points. Then I have Chicharito as my captain. And Tilderholm, the centre back of New York City, just checking here, he's got a bonus point and a clean sheet, so he's 8 points for anybody who has him. So that's a decent enough start.
Nice.
Again, that's going to be a weekly kind of column on SportsRundown.com. So if you are playing MLS fantasy, keep an eye out for it. We'll have it up kind of Wednesday or Thursday each week. Just our thoughts on who you should pick up, who you should drop. And Joe, it's important with the kind of way the players' values fluctuate to keep an eye on that, because obviously you want to have the overall value of your squad increasing as the weeks go on.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm not very good at any of the fantasy football leagues, if I'm honest about it. So I'm trying my best to keep up with. I started all right last week, but then even by the end of the game week, I think I'd fallen from about 4th to 12th, and it was just, I get these ideas, and then as soon as I put them into action, it all goes wrong. So I'm gonna have to follow that column a bit more closely. I put Higuain in, so hopefully he's a little bit sharper this week than he was last week. Watched him play last week. He looked a little bit sluggish, but it was a tough game for them. So
he not score well last.
Got the assist as well. So
he might have done well in fantasy, but he looked sluggish on the field. So
fair enough. Yeah, it's funny the way you can talk about those two things almost, mutually exclusive of each other to some extent. And they can look, have a poor game by their standards, maybe happen to be the last foot on the ball before a goal is scored and get an assist. And similar, like, defenders, you could have a full back, they get a clean sheet, but they've nothing going for them in the game itself. They just pick up the points because of their keeper and centre back.
The centre back hoofs the ball down the field, and then someone like Hazard picks it up, rounds 4 different players and buries it, and you get the assist then for your centre back.
And Howard having one of his long kickouts, and it just bounces over the opposition keeper, and next thing you have a goal.
Yeah. Any updates in the game for us, Gary? It's all quiet here in the Australian
match.
On
the corner front, so obviously the next kind of items up on the head-to-head, or categories up in the head-to-head are the race to shots and the race to corners. So there's only been one shot in the game so far, and that was the Toronto goal. Like I said, since that goal, the ball's just kind of been played around the midfield mostly, and there hasn't been really any attacks. But there has been a corner for each team, so you're 1-1 on corners, and Toronto are ahead on the race to shots. So if Toronto can win that and Vancouver can win the race to corners, that'll get you back in the game, LB.
Yeah, big time. Actually, that'd actually really do it for me, because the 2 corners so far is very hard to tell how that's going to pan out for the over 10.5, but the rest of them, I think they're all slightly slanted towards that. So yeah, I could do with those two coming my way, the 2 races, and then we'll be back in it.
Just to clarify, the race to corners, is that like 3
3
first of 3
each?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to say Vancouver is 2, but
sometimes,
but no, it's 3 and 3. Yeah.
I'm actually happy with that. I was worried that you were going to tell me.
Fairly stale in terms of attacking a threat.
I thought it might just be 2 for Vancouver and 3 for Toronto, but yeah.
Did I say 3? It's 1 for Vancouver, so that's another tick for me. Yeah. Speaking of
Nashville have just scored to make it 2-1. So it's 2-1 there. So yeah, like there's still 35 minutes left in that game. That could turn into a really, really good finish.
Absolutely. Would you be tempted to back anything else in that game, Gary? Maybe the draw or something, or Nashville double chance?
I haven't been watching it now, so I might flick it on here now and watch a little bit of it. But because I haven't been watching, I wouldn't want to recommend at the moment.
Fair enough.
It's actually just got
suspended again, so suspended at the moment.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're reviewing that. Is that just on the back of the Nashville goal that it's suspended? Is it?
Well, 2 or 3 minutes went by on the clock. As I said, I'm not watching it live, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm watching.
We're putting him on a lot of pressure here to keep asking him about a game that we know he's not watching. So, in the Sampdoria game here, there was a lovely little. I missed who did it. He kind of pirouetted on the ball, spun around a player, and then just ran straight in to the shoulder of another defender and just fell. So it was from a lovely kind of intricate bit of play, and then just absolutely fell on his face. So this one is now 40 minutes gone. I can't see that first half goal coming in now, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a shame. It seemed to die dead after that disallowed goal.
That's another one for our future stat corner. Actually, disallowed goals, what do they do? Do they have any statistical impact on the game?
Yeah, certainly at between when they happen and half time, does it kind of kill them off a bit? They might get a chance to regroup at half time, but 10 or 20 minutes after it, maybe it's worth avoiding the match. I'm looking at the Real stats here. They seem to be dominating that game against Betis anyway. I mean, they're inside 1-2 for the win, but for the bet for them to win and over 2.5 goals, you'd be pretty happy if they're up 1-0 at half time anyway.
Yeah, well, Sampdoria, no, Sass had a good chance there, but Sampdoria defended well and took it off him. It's now they had a counter attack and then they threw it away really. So yeah, Sassuolo are putting a lot of pressure on now. Keepers coming right up the pitch, so they really are going for it here, Sass. But 3 minutes, not giving us much time to get that in before the half.
No, disappointing.
Just on that, I did flick on the Nashville game. So the delay was down to a VAR check. So rightly the goal has stood, but there was a little bit of a shout for a free. So the attacker went up for a header, and he's kind of had his elbow on the defender's shoulder. But it happens in every match, every week. So if you were disallowing goals like that, there'd never be a goal scored. So rightly being given. And yeah, it's going to turn into a decent game here. So Montreal are on the attack.
No, a nice
7-2 for Nashville to turn that around. Seems,
to draw or to win.
To win 7-2.
Yeah, I'll be interested in the double chance market now. And just on our headline game, it's now 1-1 on shots, LB. So it's been 2 shots on target, 1 for each team. No shots off target, surprisingly enough.
So it's all still finely balanced here at the minute. Yeah, if I can make it to half time and get the no corner but the shot, I'd be looking good as well there.
The early second half ones.
Yeah.
We do seem to swing it. Like, we've been pretty close to most of our head-to-head battles, and that I just think those 2 markets, it just gives someone such an advantage if they get both of them. If it, obviously if it goes one each way, it balances out. But if someone goes that 2-0 in early in the second half, it's a big bearing on the overall outcome.
Yeah. Oh, Samp have a 2-on-1 here. 3-on-2. It's become. Oh, don't mess this up. Oh my God.
Oh no.
They just all lost their nerve and wouldn't shoot. They actually had 3-on-2, and it became a 3-on-1 almost for a minute or for a second, and then if I missed which player it was, he just drilled it across the box. Like, nobody was ever going to be able to control that ball. And yeah, just obviously lost control of it, and now it's gone back out to the middle of the pitch. So that is a rough one, really.
Yeah, guys, Montreal are in trouble here. I think Nashville are turning on the style. So if you were thinking about backing them at that 7-2 slots, I couldn't put you off it.
Do we think for the second 10, Gary? What do you reckon?
Double chances 4 to 5.
Definitely double chance. I mean, like, again, it probably won't happen after me saying this, but double chance seems a certainty. The win is obviously you need 2 goals, a little bit of a long shot. And
what's another goal?
On the counter attack is
another goal isn't great, LB. It's 3-10. It's only 6-4 for 2 more goals. Because I was looking at 2 more goals versus the Nashville win. Like, Nashville are pushing out to nearly 4-1 now, and 2 more goals is only 6-4. Like, there seems to be more value that you just would say, okay, both of those goals are going to go to Nashville.
Yeah,
I say pull the trigger on it for the tenor Nashville win.
Let's do that. 4-1. Get us flying, then if that comes in.
And Toronto just got a corner there as well, LB. So are you 2-1 down on the corner front of the head-to-head?
Oh, this could be a long night for me here. Yeah.
Right, I'm just trying to get on Nashville, and it's gone suspended.
I think it's a shot off target, but
I'm going to do it in a double because I've been tracking this Real game, and they've been dominating the first half, and they were 2-1, 23-10 to be winning at half time. So just for myself, I'm going to double that up with Nashville win. Should be decent odds overall.
Oh, yeah, side bets for yourself. Is that how it's working now, lads? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we all like a bit of a gamble. I'm not going to stop gambling just for the sake of our combined betting.
I thought we were all in this
suspended together. What I'm seeing the Nashville game, so I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's still suspended for me as well.
Yeah,
it's suspended. I think it's suspended because of a water break. I think.
Okay.
It seems strange that nothing's going to change during that period, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see
there was a tackle there, and I'm very surprised that it looked like a red card tackle to me. I don't even think a yellow card was given. It looked like a 2-footer over the top of the ball. So if I was a Toronto fan, I'd be remonstrating with the ref because you can't allow tackles like that.
The Italian game is gone half time anyway, so that is. Thankfully, we toned it down to half a stake. But anyway, yeah.
We learned our lesson for letting LB have the first pick anyway.
It's actually Slats' pick, so I'm delighted with that one. I thought when I called Slats out, I thought no, I'll do the same thing, but then it got my good name got tarnished. So
hold on, a penalty shout here for Nashville.
Shite, that's why it's been suspended.
Are we on for our bet?
Are you not the treasurer, Gary?
You're the treasurer, Gary. Yeah.
Oh my God! Sorry, I forgot. I'm trying to do too many things. Thankfully, it hasn't been given. But I mean, there was one like this. I don't know whether you watched the West Ham Chelsea game earlier on. Azpilicueta had a handball, and like his arm was down by his side, but he definitely leaned into it. And it was the same here. It was like his arm was Wanyama was the player. Wanyama was in the box, and he definitely like leaned into it, but his arm was just down by his side. But if I hadn't hit his hand, I mean, it got to trouble the keeper anyway. I don't know whether it was going to go in, but it was definitely going to give him something to do. So I just need to try and get this bet on
suspended here.
I'm in trouble.
Oh,
sorry, say that, Slats.
I was saying the market's still suspended. It's back now, and Nashville are 9-2. And the double with Real to be winning at half time is 18-1.
They just came back, and now it's gone suspended again.
It's gone suspended
so we're
again.
on at 9-2 anyway.
Okay, we are. That's good anyway. Yeah, the double Slats. It's either going to be a blessing in disguise that you never get it on, or else, it's back now, or else I was going to say you're going to miss the boat.
Yeah, it's 19-1. I'm going to throw 12 quid on that to win 230.
And Toronto just had a great chance there in the Toronto-Vancouver game. So, dribbled all the way from midfield and hit a shot, but just had too much curl on it. So it started off, he was in kind of the edge of the D at the 18-yard box, and it just curled wide. But a good attack there.
Mm-hmm.
So that puts you ahead in the shots, LB.
Yeah.
You're 2-1 on shots.
So the shots is both teams to 3, and the corners is both teams to 3.
Yeah.
And we're both winning 2-1 on that, is it? I mean, each of us, I'm winning the corners, and you're winning the shots 2-1.
That's exactly right, Jim.
Yeah,
both winning.
Finally balanced. I think you're kind of playing it up as if you're like the underdog here. I think you're
I'm the underdog. I'm losing, and I mean, you've got the game result is in your favor. I mean, we're beyond the point now where 2.5 goals probably got 3 or 4 to 1 at this stage. Is it? Both teams to score.
That's such a ridiculous.
Do you know what I'm looking
on for 2 more goals? 1-0 up. I mean, it's not a third of the game gone, and 1/3 of the goal criteria has been met. So.
I think I'm going to do a kind of for myself here as well. A long shot, not a long shot, but another goal in the. I'm actually going to do 2 more, over 2.5 in the Sheffield game, which is now even money. So 2 goals. 1 goal is 1-6, but 2 goals is even money. Seems like a nice jump there. In Madrid game is drifted as well nicely here. So 2.5 is now 2-1. Let me look at that one. Let me see. Give me a moment. I'm actually going to pull together a kind of a 2 goals per game ACCA of what's left out there, because I think there's a bit of value in them. And I'm going to include
while you're putting that together, it'll be just an update on our Betalong travel. Unfortunately, things have taken a little bit of a turn for the worse. Cobh got a penalty and scored against Bray Wanderers, so that's back to 1-1, and there's only 11 minutes left. So we need Bray to get back on track fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's the
and then
point.
The Toronto and Vancouver game has just gone to the water break in the first half as well. So we have a few minutes there before there's any updates.
Yep.
You guys can calm your nerves a small bit.
A goal in the Nashville game, right? So 1 more goal in that. 2 goals in the Brighton game. 2 goals in the Brighton game. 2 goals in the second half in Sassuolo, and then over 2.5 in the Madrid game. So all that together is 16-1. So I'm going to throw a tenner on that myself. Yeah, it just seems like all a bit juicy. 2.5 goals in the Real game is starting to feel like an ask. But actually, I'm going to tone that down to 1.5. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Probably half your overall odds, will it?
Find out shortly. Yeah, it'll take a big chunk out of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, given there's only been one shot on target in 37 minutes, probably wise to take the safer option.
I think we've said it before. On any time on this show where we've got a couple of options and we say we'll take the safer option, we invariably win. So, Gary, what's that? Nashville?
Yeah, they missed like basically a tap in.
Oh God!
Like they were attacking on the left hand side, and they broke through the defense. And I think it was Lille on the left wing. Oh no, hold on. Montreal are on a good attack here. Oh my God, geez. Montreal probably should have scored there. But on the attack for Nashville, they went down the left hand side, but all of a sudden it turned into the left winger having 3 options in the center, and he squared it. And basically, if the first guy hadn't taken the shot, it would have went to the other guys who had an empty net because the keeper had come out to cut off the angle.
Made
and
it the first.
He just passed it towards the keeper, and the keeper saved it. So, yeah, like should be back to 2-2. But definitely, I think I'll be yours. Anyway, you've one more goal in that game. I mean, it's only 4-9, but it seems like a great bet. Like 20 minutes left, and both teams are attacking. You would think that Montreal would kind of sit back a bit and be happy with what they've got, but they're actually, attacking nearly just as much as Nashville.
I love that about any kind of league. You see it sometimes where, I can understand why teams take their lead, and especially if they're the solid defensive unit, you can understand they want to win and whatever. But you do love just that end to end, and not when it's 4-0, like when the game is really in the balance as well, and you're just taking your chances, going hell for leather. It really makes it exciting. So you got to fair play to them for doing it.
Yeah, they've actually just shown the build up to that chance, and it was actually really, really good play by the whole team. There was so many players involved, but I've been impressed by the striker Cadiz up front. He's a handful. He's about 7 foot tall, so he's kind of like a Peter Crouch, where you'd look at him and just be like, oh, they're just going to hoof the ball up to him. But he's actually really, really good with his feet as well.
He reminds me of his man Zigic. Nikola Zigic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But he just, for a big man, he has such good feet. So he did a little kind of Cruyff turn there in the build up to that chance, which was good. And then just on our head to head, LB in the main game we're covering, you've won the race to shots, 3-1. So 2 shots on target and 1 shot off target was the final.
Clawing my way back into it. So
I mean, it's all square, and you went 1-0 up and 2-1 behind. You're hardly out of it.
You've come in. You've actually drifted from 1 to 100 to 1 to 50 there, Slat. So that's a big movement.
Does that mean you'll give me what, like 45 to 1 for you to win? Is it?
No, don't like the sound of that at all. Yeah, no. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that's looking good now. 2-2. Nice spread on those actually. If Vancouver can score and get this 1-1, I'd actually be pretty confident overall. But I think what's going to happen to me is, I've kind of gone all in on the both teams to score over goals and the game result. So I feel like I could win all 3 of those or lose all 3 of them. So if Vancouver score, I'll be pretty happy there. But
yeah, Vancouver have come out of their shell a bit though. Like the first 20 minutes, they didn't look to have anything about them. They weren't trouble in Toronto at all. But the last couple of minutes, they've got back into it, and they're actually starting to probe a little bit down both wings. So
actually, just Gary, we see
we've got a forlorn hope.
We have a comment in from Sunil Sharma, and you've asked us who will win. So if you mean the head-to-head, I think Stats is definitely going to win. But if you're talking about a specific game, Maybe just let us know. Let us know in the comments
sorry,
which game you're talking about. Obviously, if it's a Toronto game, I fancy Toronto from beforehand. Although Slats managed to get that in the head-to-head, but I do think Toronto probably have too much for them here. But if you're talking about a different game, by all means, just let us know in the comments which game you're talking about, and we'll give you our thoughts on that. But thanks for the comments.
So the four games of focus are Real Madrid versus Betis, where we think Madrid are going to win. Sassuolo versus Sampdoria, and we think Sassuolo are going to win. Toronto versus Vancouver, where we think Toronto are going to win. And then Nashville versus Montreal, where it's starting to get a little bit late for Nashville to make a comeback, but we're still hoping for Nashville to win. If I was putting on a bet now, I would probably go with the draw. I'm not too sure what the draw is priced up at. I'll check now, but the draw would look like
2-1 for the draw there, or 6-5 for a double chance.
That's a good price for the draw, 2-1. Considering it's probably only 3-1 before kickoff.
Yeah, true.
Vancouver have a dangerous free kick here now. They're about 25 yards from goal, but right in the center of the pitch. Actually, a little bit closer than that. So they're kind of at the edge of the D on the 18-yard box. And it's directly in the center of the goal. So there's a left and right footer lining up for it here. Keeper's given a lot of his goal. Oh, he's actually made a brilliant save, but essentially the right footer took it. But if he had went over the wall to the spot that the keeper wasn't covering, he definitely would have scored. But he tried to trick the keeper by coming back to the other side and put it in the top corner, but the keeper managed to actually save it from the top corner. So good goalkeeping and a good bit of play by Vancouver. The keeper tipped it out for a corner, so now it's 2-2 on corners in our head-to-head. Wow. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, it's gone 3-2 on corners. So I'll be you're Vancouver, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Vancouver have won the corners by 3 corners to 2. So you're up on that one.
Actually, you picked that market, so I'm not claiming any kind of knowledge on my part here, but I actually reckon that Vancouver should have been a lower corner line, but we'd already picked it, so we couldn't discuss it. We couldn't change it afterwards. The worst kind of after timing is moving things in your favor, but Toronto were pretty big favorites in that market, so yeah, it's a strange one. I never think those markets, I don't think the correlation between big favorite for the game and big favorite for the corners should always actually tally up, but they always seems to be just
you would
priced
imagine
that way.
The race for shots and the race for corners should generally balance out to be the same team, you know what I mean? Or if the number is the same, if
you're not taking shots, how are you getting those corners?
Yeah, exactly. How did you get 3 Toronto corners and have 3 bloody shots?
Yeah. So I've actually crawled into a 3-2 lead here. So these 2 second half ones now are crucial, Slats. Crucial.
Flying away. You're flying away with it. Although I guess the one thing that has helped me with that corners turnaround for Vancouver is that it probably puts me at slight favourite for the over 10.5 corners.
Is that 5 total corners, Gary?
It's actually 6 now because what we've talked about corners before. What the ideal scenario is that when you get a corner, you kind of cross it in and gets hit out for another one, and that's what happened for you.
That's the ideal scenario.
Toronto got a corner as well, so it's actually 3-3 now on corners.
That's the ideal scenario if you backed corners. I mean, if it's your team, that's not what you're hoping for when you see.
Come on, get another corner.
Yeah, but okay, so 3-3 in the corner, so that's 6 already. So I mean, Slats, you're definitely rank favorite now for that.
6 coming up to half time, and we've seen swings where it's a lot less in the second half. But anyway, it probably puts me slight favourite.
Hopefully you didn't get on that half-time Madrid market anyway. So that's gone half-time there.
Oh, I did. I got on it myself. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's back on here to solo, by the way.
I got on it as a double with Nashville to win, and that. Well, Nashville.
Go.
Lovely.
Sweet.
That was some timing.
I was like Nashville haven't done much there, and I went on.
We won't get too excited until they actually tip off, but hopefully that goal stands, and I didn't see anything wrong with the build-up or anything, so it should be good. But if that goal stands now, it puts us 13 minutes left to get a winner for Nashville.
So actually, in the bet I
got
put
on that
on,
at what, 9-2?
Go ahead, Gary.
Sorry, that's what you say. Sorry,
we got on that at 9-2, was it?
9-2. Yeah, we got on that at 9-2. Yeah, so that would bring us up to 55 for our bank, but we won't get too far ahead of ourselves at the minute.
I was just going to say, in the bet that I put on, that was kind of the first risky leg, the one goal in that game, because obviously the time on it. So now need 2 goals in the SAS game, 2 goals in the Madrid game, and 2 goals in the Sheffield United Brighton game. So they're all full halves to go in that, so perfectly reasonable. Perfectly plausible to see. So that's my background bet for the evening. And the Sassuolo Sampdoria game has kicked off at a fairly helter-skelter pace here. SAS are really, really pushing for it. So, I like to look at goals in that. And actually, just generally for anyone who's interested in it, the over/under, good shot there. The over is 1.5 or 1 to 5 for a single goal, but it's even money for 2. So you start to get some value there in the next couple of minutes as that continues to drift. So yeah, I like this game now for goals.
Having a look at the Cobh Ramblers Bray Wanderers game here, the stats are looking like Bray have been dominating since Cobh equalised that one. It's a minute and a half into 3 minutes of injury time, so it seems unlikely to come away with the win there, but Bray are definitely putting a bit of pressure on.
This game this could be 1-1 already in the second half. So Sassuolo had a great chance, kind of fluffed their lines a bit, and then Sam just ran down the other end, but 2 passages to play later, and had a 2-on-1, but kind of fluffed the airline. So 2 great chances now, 1 each so far. So plenty to think there'll be goals in the second half here.
Yeah, things have kind of livened up in the last couple of minutes. There was a few of the games where we're looking fairly dull, but a lot of them are starting. Like I said, I'm really surprised in this Toronto-Vancouver game. Like, after 10 minutes, if you had to give me 20-1 again about Vancouver, I wouldn't have backed them. They seem to have nothing when they got by the halfway line. But as they approach half-time, they've got grown with confidence, and they actually wouldn't want half-time to come. It's 42 minutes gone at the minute, but they're playing the best football of the match so far. So I don't know who has both teams to score in
Me.
our head-to-head.
LB. Our big favourite. LB.
Yeah, not a bad position to be in, because I said they're playing fairly well, and Toronto have definitely taken their foot off the gas as well, which has allowed them to come more into it.
This Sassuolo.
God, Montreal goalkeeper has just pulled one from the top corner. It's like I think it was Randall Leal for Nashville, like 30 yards out, hit an absolute rocket, and the keeper got his fingertips to it to turn it over. But it was like unbelievable goalkeeping, but a rocket of his shot as well.
I was just going to say, right, that's unfortunate for the head-to-head for me anyway, or for the bet, sorry. But in this Sassuolo game, like, Sassuolo had a goal kick, so Sampdoria had a corner, took a short corner. They made something decent of it, but saved in the end. And the goalkeeper took his kick out. Like, there was probably still like 8 or 9 players in the box, and he just like rolled the ball out between their legs. It was the most high-risk kick out I've seen in years. Like, it's just a free swing for both of these teams. It's going to turn into an exhibition match soon, I think. So,
Liam, sorry, anybody who's watching in will have seen me nearly fall off my chair here. But like, Nashville have just hit the post. How they're not winning this game is unbelievable. Like, 10 minutes to go, we still have a good chance here. But like, everything's, they need a little bit of luck, hitting the post, taking shots, they're getting deflected wide, the keeper pulling off absolute worldy saves. But yeah, so if anybody's seen me jump out of my skin there a minute ago, I didn't see a ghost or something. It was actually them hitting the post.
That is unfortunate now for your bet as well. Your bet's looking okay, Gary. Is it the big one if Nashville can pull this out?
Oh! Hit the post again.
Jesus
oh my
Christ.
God. That's like, in less than, I'd say, 2.5 minutes, they've hit the post twice and have the keeper make an absolute world-class save.
It's 3-2 for another goal. Feels a bit tight though for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd be happy. Like, it brings my, as you were saying, it brings my other bet live, and obviously wins us our in play money as well. So, I mean, I think I've got enough riding on it. But if you're out there without a bet on the game, I mean, first of all, if you like, if you can put it on while watching us as well, it's a great game of football. And if you can get a bet on Nashville or another goal, I think the two of those are great bets. So
by the sound of it, though, like Nashville at 12-5 for the win, probably better value. If another goal comes, like it feels from your descriptions, Gary, that it's much more likely to be Nashville. So, there might be more value. The only thing I'll say
is because they're at home, like they're kind of going gung ho. So there is a possibility that Montreal will catch them on the break. That's the only thing I would have about being like fully sure of recommending a Nashville win bet here. But as I said, if like 90% chance it's going to be them who gets a goal if there is a goal. But yeah, like so unlucky with that that hitting the post.
Yeah, big time.
It's just coming up on half time in the Toronto game. So there's 7 corners now. So Slats, you're looking fairly good from the corner.
She's just going to give me a second. I'm just going to put that up as a green tick now. Just get it out of the way because
I also have a corner between 45 and 50 minutes. So like if that brings it to 8 in the second half, that would be a win for me and move me very close to the second win. I think I need that. I think if I don't get a corner in the first 5 minutes, you might as well just turn it off, end the show, and the LB, game over.
Get my Burger King crown on and just start celebrating.
Just leave you on the stream alone, just to load. I go to bed. Any more action in the Sassuolo game, LB?
Plenty of action. It's very open. The Sassuolo manager's going mad on the sidelines here. Like, his game counts for nothing, so I'm not sure why he is so animated, but the players are really up for it. Sampdoria, like we saw them, Gary, when we went to the Genoa last season. Like, Sampdoria can flatter to deceive both ways around. Like, they can look awful and then out of nowhere just turn it on. So they've had a few threatening moments here, but the balance of play is all Sassuolo. Sampdoria player's just been stood on the back of his leg. I think he's looking like he's. I'm not sure if he's actually hurt now, if he's just milking this, but he did get stood on. Yeah, at some point when you're like, the goals are such a great price here, and then eventually you have to start thinking, have I just misread this game and the goals aren't going to come? But yeah, the more they drift, the more they're going to tempt me because it's just so open.
And would you still be keen on Sassuolo for the win? So anybody looking to have a bet in the win market just only, would you be keen on that, LB?
Do you know what? No, they're so gung ho. There must be still favourites. They're 13-10. Sampdoria are nearly 4-1, so they're big favourites. But at 13-10, I mean, that's the price for 2 goals is 11-8. So I just take the goals. They're so gung ho about this. I could see them getting caught out. I could see them going 1-0 down. If they go 1-0 down,
3 goals at 9-2 looks like could be a decent shout as well.
Yeah,
I mean, probably need one in the next 5 or 10 minutes, but.
But we've seen a few SerieA games lately where there's been 2 or 3 goals in injury time. So,
that's true. Yeah.
Like Samp are playing here, or Sassuolo are playing here like they're playing for survival, or they're playing to. Let me double check. I'm almost certain that they're mathematically out of the European places. So,
yeah, when I was putting that bet together for the website, for the SportsRunDown website, I had a look because you had said it that they're both, neither of them are making Europe, but neither of them are getting relegated, and yeah, that's how I saw it too.
Oh yeah, 13 points behind Napoli, and there's 3 teams ahead of them. This is not they're just playing for pride here, but boy God, are they playing for pride? So, a kind of a half volley from the penalty spot, and then some defender, I can't actually missed who it was, managed to get a leg out and block it, so it's gone behind for a corner. But Sassuolo are, I know you said it in the headline slats, but they really are a sassy kind of team. Like, they're just relentless. Here we go. Oh, another unbelievable shot, just deflected behind for a corner. Yoshida, he's actually a nifty little player for Sampdoria. He's he cleared that one well. That was 100% going into the top corner if he hadn't got his head in the way. So another corner here.
Yeah, so we've got probably 2.5 minutes left in the Nashville game. So hoping that there's a good bit of added time. Try and get the winner, although there hasn't been that many reasons for there to be added time. So it's probably only going to be 2 or 3 minutes of added time. That probably means 4 minutes in total left. So fingers crossed they can make one more.
Have they been continuing to push for it, or are you getting the feeling that, the fact that they came from behind, they might be settling for the draw here and just kind of shutting things down?
No, like they're continuing on now. As I said, Montreal had a chance there probably a minute ago. They had a good attack down the left-hand side, kind of on a counter-attack. But now Nashville have the ball back, and they're still looking to go forward. I think at this stage Montreal are just happy with the draw. They've got every man behind the ball, and as I said, looking to catch Nashville on the break if they can, but they take the point now. So Nashville are they're trying to work around that, Oh no, keeper made a decent save there. So yeah, it's looking like it could end in a 2-2 draw, which be slightly disappointing for our 20 quid. But I said it's going to be, if it doesn't come in, it'll be an unlucky bet. Considering
I was going to say it'll be vindication for your call anyway, whatever happens.
Yeah, exactly. You can't kind of price in hitting the post twice, and the saves, like Heapers pulled off one world-class save, 2 very good saves that I've seen. So the call was definitely right. Just a bit frustrating that it might not come in.
Yeah. Is it officially halftime in the Toronto game, by the way?
Oh yeah. So about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, halftime.
Cool. So making sure there's no need to check any updates there. This SAS game is just, I can't believe, it's honestly like a training game or a kind of a preseason game where they're just, taking ridiculous chances here. So Sampa growing into it as well. They're getting more and more of the chances. I forgot that Claudio Ranieri is there, so nice to see him.
Yeah, he was there when we went over.
Yeah, that was it. I still look at the videos from that game. It was unbelievable. Day out.
Yeah, actually, for anybody who's watching him first time, if you check out our Twitter feed, we actually still have that as our pinned tweet. So
just because we haven't been able to go to anything since.
Yeah, but just for a bit of history again, if anybody's interested. So
the nostalgia at this stage.
Yeah, myself and Liam did a road trip. For actually Arsenal were playing in the
European Super League.
Was it semi-final or quarter-final? Semi-final?
No, that was the quarter-final, and then they played Valencia in the semis.
Yeah. So quarter-final against Napoli, and we decided both of us lived in London at the time, so I had to drive from London down to Napoli, and on the way take in some games. So one of the games we took in was Torino versus Sampdoria. I trusted Liam to buy the tickets and get everything set up for it, since I was doing all the driving. Got there, we went to go to the home end for our tickets, and they kind of laughed at us. The police and the security guards sent us into the away end. So we were forced to back Sampdoria, who are the outsiders. I think they might have been 3-1 outsiders, just because we were in the away end and we needed something to cheer on. We didn't want to be lynched if Torino
and in
scored,
fairness,
the
stats and form all backed up a Torino win that day. Like Samp were proper outsiders.
Exactly, yeah. Like the only reason we backed them was because we were in the away end. I said we would have got lynched if we were cheering on the other team. Went 1-0 down, kind of were like, resigned to losing our money, and then they came back and ended up winning. Was it 3-2 in the end? They won.
Yeah, so at least
but that free kick was a brilliant free kick. Gaston Ramirez.
He scored 2 that day, Gaston. Yeah, that was an unbelievable free kick. Yeah, and then he scored the penalty, and then they won. I can't remember if they won 3-1 or 3-2 in the end, but they certainly scored 3.
Yeah, no, it was a great game of football, a great advertisement for the SerieA. And it was nice that I think we had £100 on that, so it was nice to win the 300 that we would have got off it. So
we should actually turn it into an article for the site, because then we went from there to the Milan derby, and we rolled a lot of that profit on and ended up winning a significant amount of money in that game, which Lukaku scored in like the 92nd minute was a crucial part. We were jumping around the San Siro like Egypt, but that was a great trip.
Yeah, like for the people watching in, let us know in the comments. Joe, is that something that you'd like to see, or what would you like? What kind of content would you like to see? Do you think is missing? So from our perspective, what we're trying to bring is a fan's perspective, a punter's perspective on these games. We want to be honest with what we're backing. Provide the insight into what we've looked at in terms of research of our bets, and that's why SportsRunDown website is there. So let us know if go in and check the content out, and let us know if it's something that you like, you dislike, if there's anything you want us to add in. We've got a team of people who are established bettors at this stage. The three of us on stream have been betting for years on all sports, but particularly the likes of football and horse racing. And the same with Enzo, who contributes to the website as well, and he's our SerieA expert. So I said, let us know in the comments or DM us on social media with anything you want to see on the website.
Yep, good point, Gary.
And again, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube and on Facebook as well, just so you can see our streams. And on Facebook, you'll be able to see anything that we publish as well, maybe tweeted or sent on social media. So unfortunately, the Nashville game has ended 2-2.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing. It also knocks my bet builder ACCA that I had going on, which was actually going very, very well. So I needed one more corner, and I needed Lille to score for Nashville, but Lille got an assist. And so I needed 10 corners. It was 9 corners, and Lille got an assist instead of scoring. So frustrating there, but as I said, it was good to get through the New York City game and get a good shout of the Nashville game as well.
Yep, that's an unfortunate end, all right. But like you said, a good call, really. Vindication, even if you don't, a moral victory, as they call them. So.
Yeah, no, that was just a play bet. I think it's a 500 to 1 was the odds. So it was just something to keep me interested in all of the games throughout the evening,
Yeah.
So they're not back out in Toronto yet. They are back out in the game in England, so Sheffield United, Brighton. So it's just there's 4 minutes in. Brighton have most of the ball. I'd say that's going to be like that for most of the second half now. 2-1 for the draw in that game actually looks a bit of value if anybody's looking to have an in-play bet. Brighton don't score a lot of goals, so I think they'll get 1. I'm not too sure whether they'll get 2. So yeah, 2-1 for the draw seems fairly very decent at this stage. And if they do score, you can always kind of trade out of it then.
Yeah, exactly. It's mad that the draw odds don't move that much, and then they'll just start skyrocketing. Like if it stays 1-0 near the end, or you know what I mean? Like between say 30 minutes and 60 minutes, there won't be a huge amount of shift if it just stays a 1-goal difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is that
I think a
Modelo
lot
you're
of those
drinking,
markets
Gary?
are based on kind of algorithms, like, instead of traders watching a match. Just it's more just like, at a certain time, if there's a 1-goal lead, the price will be whatever, like,
Oh yeah, 100%. It's done like that. Yeah. I was gonna say, are they Modelo's you're drinking there, Gary?
They are Modelo's, yeah.
Yeah, I love that beer.
Mexico's finest.
Yeah, and cool little bottles as well.
Yeah.
So what about the second half? Does anything, the second half of these games, any bets jumping out for you?
As I said, like, so I like Brighton. I'd say, like, Real Madrid are getting to a backable price now. 40 minutes left, 4-5. Sassuolo are 6-4. So, like, you'd have more of an opinion on that. You're watching the game. In the Toronto game, I'm not too sure what price both teams to score is, but if Toronto play the way they've been playing, there's a chance. Like, they didn't finish that
9-10.
Both teams score is 8-11 here on William Hill.
9-10 better.
Yeah, so like that might be a decent bet. And the over 2.5 at evens as well, because there hasn't been many clear-cut chances. But when they both got chances, they've had their shots on target. So they do have two decent enough strike forces. They'd be the bet that stick out to me.
Yeah. In the Sassuolo game, I'd be inclined to go goals myself. Just Sampdoria have, I think, Gabbiadini off now, but they're still kind of throwing a lot of bodies forward when they do get the ball. Sassuolo are definitely favourites still. They're rightly favourites, but at the same time, what are they, 31-20? Don't know if that's really giving you enough there, considering it's 2 goals. It's probably a lower price than that. Are you about to score here? Oh my God. They had 2 players went for the same ball. They both missed it. It's gone out wide. Lazy ball back into the box, picked out by their defender. Yeah, SAS have had some chances here. The worry is that they'll get picked off on the counter because they're just throwing so many bodies forward.
Yeah, that's always a worry. Slats, are you watching the Madrid game, or what game are you looking at?
Slats is out of action for a moment, so he was watching that. Yeah, we'll come back to him.
Yeah, I might flick on the Madrid game, so have a look.
Yeah, it's actually an interesting one to see now because, we talked about it before. They were kind of out of the title race for a while, and you could kind of make the case, they're focusing on Europe and not too concerned about La Liga, but they're right back in it now. So, it is a must-win game for them, really.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, just for anybody interested in the MLS, the San Jose Earthquakes and FC Dallas game has just kicked off as well. So I might put that one on and just have a glance at it and see how it's going.
Yeah.
So in Sassuolo, what would you back?
1-0. 1-0.
Just got 1-0,
yeah, Sassuolo just scored an absolute worldly bicycle kick, lofted into the box from the corner of the corner of the box. Oh, shocking defending. Is that Chieta Balde? He tries to head it. He bends over no, it's not. It's somebody else. He bends over too far, like stoops too low for the header. The ball hits him on the back, goes straight up in the air, down, and then bicycle kicked in by Berardini, I think. Straight in. So, yeah, I mean, it's bicycle kick from 6 yards. Scrappy enough goal, but lovely finish. So, yeah, back Sassuolo to score next, and I'd say 1-0 Sassuolo. No, look, the goals were always coming in this game. We've been saying it for the last while. You called out the SAS to take the lead. Obviously, they have done, but they're leaving themselves so open at the back. I could easily see more goals in this game.
I flicked on to the Real Madrid game there.
Yeah.
And like how a penalty wasn't given to Betis, I'll never know.
Because it's Real Madrid.
Yeah, absolute stonewall penalty that should have been given. And then Real went down the other end, and it was a cross that was just a bad cross turned into a shot, hit the crossbar. So bit of kind of, I'd say in the last 5 minutes, both of those things have happened. So that game is starting to heat up. It's absolutely bucketing down with rain as well.
Is it?
Yeah, there might be a few, late challenges or whatever going in. It could be an interesting game to watch.
Yeah. Stat, you were away there, so I'm not sure if you heard Gary's update about the Madrid. They should have conceded a penalty, but they got the rub of the dice, and then the Sassuolo have taken the lead. So some poor defending, but a nice finish and a bicycle kick into the box, or into the goal. So 1-0 Sassuolo. So
yeah, given my call on the Real match was Real win and over 2.5 goals. Maybe at this point a Betis goal might have actually been a benefit to that bet rather than
2-1 feels an
like
awful lot more likely than, like, say at this stage now, if they're 1-0 down, 2-1 feels more likely than 3-0 does at this stage. So yeah,
exactly, yeah.
So my bet, I needed a goal in Nashville. I've got that. I needed 2 goals in Sassuolo. Now that the floodgates have opened, I can see there being another one there. 20 minutes to go, and then 2 goals in Madrid and 2 goals in Brighton. I'm actually pretty sick in myself now because I didn't back Madrid. I just backed goals, so that would have been
It's
nice.
1-1 now in the Sheffield United Brighton game. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, sorry. Forget that I said that. It's gone back to 1-0 Brighton offside. Looks like another VAR call, and it had it up as 1-1. But it's saying offside Brighton now.
I'm actually watching here, lads, and the goal was just scored on my screen as you were saying it. Like, I haven't seen the replay now, but it didn't look like there was much wrong with it. So, did you watch it? Did you see what happened, or?
No, I didn't. I was just flicking on to Bet365 when LB was running down through his accumulator there, and I just saw it had gone 1-0.
Oh, it was offside, yeah. Strange offside. But yeah, it was offside.
Brighton are like dominating now. I mean, I know we were talking about Sheffield United were 2-1 after they went up 1-0.
Yeah, they were 2-1.
But Brighton has definitely been on top.
My bet there would be the draw, because I don't think Brighton have the cutting edge to score more than once at the minute. The way I've been watching it, so.
No, you wouldn't think so. Yeah, I mean they've had a lot more of the chances, but yeah, at this stage we get one back.
While we're waiting for the second half to start in our main game, in the FC Dallas game, there was a early penalty for San Jose. So the Earthquakes had a penalty after 19 minutes, but Christian Espinosa missed it.
Did you see that?
I saw that there was a penalty, but I didn't see the penalty.
I'm only asking because I can see on Bet365 they don't have any shots on target for the Quakers. Oh, it was Dallas the penalty went to, was it?
No, it was for the Earthquakes.
The Earthquakes, yeah, so they've no shots on target. So I mean, by the sound of it, I guess he could have hit the ball.
Yeah, he must have put it wide. Yeah,
but yeah,
or hit the post, maybe.
Yeah.
It's always because I was watching the Brighton game, or concentrating on the Brighton game. So
it just always baffles me, and it, it's not like it's that rare an occurrence, but to not hit the target with a penalty, it's just such a disgrace for a professional footballer. And we've kind of spoken about even the difference between a penalty shootout after 120 minutes of playing football and a lot of pressure on in a big knockout competition. Fair enough, the pressure can just get to you, but 20 odd minutes into a game.
But we're back underway in the Toronto game.
Right.
It's actually 3 minutes into the second half, but there's been no shots or corners at the minute. So
well, the corner is only between, or the
corner
I need before 50 minutes. The shot is only between 50 and 55. So there hasn't been a corner for me so far, no?
Not yet, no.
Right, I need one faster. I think LB is wrapping this up. Certainly, if he goes 2-0 in the early second half markets, if he gets the no corners and gets the shot 50 to 55, I remember the last time you were up the head against LB, you got that swing, you got I think there was a corner just into the 51st minute and then a shot from that, so you got you survived no corners and then got the shot.
Yeah, there's a dangerous attack here now in the last minute by Vancouver, so maybe you might get it here. No, they've given it away. So it looks like there's probably not going to be a corner in the first 5 minutes, so that's bad for Slats.
How long do I have? Can you what's on the clock for me?
There is 49:27, so you've got 33 seconds.
33 seconds is all I heard, so the 45-minute one is in my favor by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I need a corner in the next 20 seconds. I don't even. Yeah, I think that's dead.
Yeah, shot off target, so it's just gone out for a goal kick. So yeah, that's it gone.
This is an unbelievable turnaround. So corner between 45 and 50, no for me. So that puts me 3-2 up.
This would be your first win, LB, will it? Of the head-to-heads.
Does anybody want to bet from me?
Don't get carried away. I beat PK. Beat PK in the. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was Sassuolo playing that night as well. So I do have a win. I lost to you then afterwards, Slats, but you're probably going to make that 2-0 now yourself tonight. So we can see.
If I pull this back from the dead, even if everything stays as it is, so if there was no shot, and under corners, and then I got the other three, geez, that would just about do it for me. If the ref blew it up now, I'd win it by 1. And I think everything beyond that is in your favor. Like, you know what I mean?
If the shot comes in, I'm looking good. But I mean, the both teams to score over 2.5 in game result. I mean, we might as well just take them up for you right now. They're in the bank and then the seven
both
corners.
Teams to score. It's been pretty balanced in terms of shots. Yeah. But it's just that thing. If I'm sitting for the rest of the game wanting nothing to change, bound to be one of those markets that just move against me, like both teams to score. And I guess that game result.
If I get the shot right, I'll be happy. I think I'll be 5-2 up, but you'll have advantage in the last 4. But I'm sure one will swing my way. If you get that, and it's 4-3, and you have advantage in all 4 left, and I'll need 2 of them to swing my way, I'd be fairly unconfident. I think that 50 to 55 minute shot is going to be the crucial one.
Yeah, please tell me we're flying through that with no action. I'd love a good 3-minute injury here.
There hasn't really been any action to speak of in the last couple of minutes. So a few throw-ins, but Vancouver are on a decent attack here, so maybe that might change.
I saw on the ticker I have going across the bottom of the screen the shot that went wide that you were saying that the shot attack, that was like 49-50 something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I was seconds away from getting the 2 of them together. If he just held up a little bit, I'd have been laughing that I got my shot.
Yeah, but if he'd got the keeper to save, but it might have been a corner for me then.
Yeah.
What do you target?
So what's that now? 2 minutes to go for me. We'll see.
Yeah, so it's just there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on my clock. So, but the game has started. Like as I said, Vancouver have just been growing into this game. So the draw market here is 15-4, which I don't think is a bad price. If you doubled up the draw in this game with the draw in the Brighton game, that's 13-1, nearly 14-1 double. That seems like a decent bet.
Yeah, I like
Say that again. We doubled it up with what, Gar?
So a draw in Brighton and a draw in Toronto, Vancouver is nearly 14-1. Now, and I think Brighton will score, so it's just whether Vancouver can score. But they've been playing pretty well. Actually, they've got a penalty.
I'm back in it here, so that's going to be a shot if he takes it in time.
And a draw in that game had just gone out to 4-1, and now Vancouver,
suspended, presumably.
Yeah, suspended. They have a penalty. It looked a clear penalty.
Hang on, it's a penalty, and if he
But
takes
it's going to bar. Yeah, so it could go by 55.
This would be a disgrace. I got some shafting on the one with you, Gary, when the corner and the shot.
You need him to take the penalty in the next, I think it's 30 seconds.
If it's gone to VAR, has VAR reviewed it yet? Like, have they officially given the penalty yet?
He's placed the ball on the spot, and the ref is having a word with him. But there's 30 seconds now left.
Oh, that's loads. That's loads of time for the ref just to go ahead. Like,
the ref is going to have a conversation with the goalkeeper now.
Oh, come on, ref!
Keep chatting, goalie. Keep chatting.
Down to 15 seconds.
Oh, I'm never taking it. You've got that, Slats, wrapped up.
Goal for Vancouver.
Boom.
54-51 was the official time. So
I think that's officially game over, because that's both teams to score for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it.
And now I can't win the game result without it being over.
Yeah.
2.5.
So you were just saying that have you won any yet, LB? And then here we go. It's come good for me. So I actually paid off, because I said at the start, should I do over 2.5 from both teams to score together? Should I do them at the same time? And I went all in, and it has paid off for me now. So that's 6.
It was a long wait for you, but I'm glad you've picked up that win for yourself anyway.
My second win in 2 times. Yeah, cheers, Slats.
I'm actually sick that I didn't get on that 14-1 now. I was too busy talking about it.
I'm just so happy that somebody else is getting a taste of how difficult it is to get these bets on in time, on air, while you're trying to have a conversation about them, because it's so easy for them to slip by.
I didn't mean to open that up to an out for you, but.
So I am looking at now, what's this of 3? That's actually 6 already, Slats.
Oh, is it actually? Yeah, the both teams to score as well.
Yeah, got the both teams to score. So I got the throw in the first minute, race to 3 corners, race to 3 shots. Corner between 45 and 50, no. Shot between 50 and 55, yes. And both teams to score, yes. So there's 6 wins. 6 ticks.
Those 4 markets. Like, you got the shots for Toronto, but Toronto didn't manage to get the corners. And then, there was no corner between 45 and 50, but there was a shot 50 to 55. Like, that's a massive swing for what you'd expect. You'd expect those 4 markets to balance out at kind of 2-2, and it's 4-0 there.
I mean, if the corners dry up, this could be an absolute hockey in for you, Slats. Considering last week you were like
last week.
I think I'm going to win 11-0 at 2-0 up, and then it went back to about 6-2 in no time.
Yeah, I haven't been watching it at all, but I have it recorded. But Munster are up. Oh
yeah, that's actually why when I stepped away, I was away a little bit longer than I expected. I got caught by that game. So give us the updates.
27-3 to Munster with about 4 minutes on the clock, and Munster have possession on the attack. Now, I mean, to be fair to Leinster, like, they kind of played a mixed enough side. Munster went with pretty much their starting 15. Leinster went with plenty of starters, and Ringrose was back from injury too, starting for them, along with plenty others, and we know how much depth they have. So, saying it's a mixed team for Leinster, they still have a team that would put it up to anyone really out there. So, to get 27-3 up the RDS to hold Leinster to 3 points, pretty decent showing. I'm looking forward.
I think the main thing is the monkey off the back for Munster as well. Like, to go there, play that well, basically take Leinster to the cleaners. Like, that's what you need to get that, put those ghosts to bed.
Massive, yeah. For the next, the next knockout game they play, and whatever it is, the Pro 14 semi-final or final or whatever it comes to be, they'll have a bit more confidence in closing it out or going for the win.
Yeah, scoring a try even.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this one back after tonight's show.
Yeah, I've heard that the first try in particular was pretty impressive. So yeah, something to look forward to.
Are you watching the Sassuolo game?
Yeah.
How does it look? Are Sassuolo comfortable, or I know there's only 4 minutes left, but
Sassuolo are playing like they're they're losing. They're just absolutely giving everything, throwing bodies forward. Samp are a bit more conservative maybe than, like if you're watching this game, you wouldn't necessarily know who was winning and who was losing. But Samp have slightly resorted to long balls. So, yeah, it's been good, but an unfortunate one for the goals bettors, myself included. So,
yeah. Speaking of
5 minutes, it's hard to
which
see.
is probably why we're here, but like again, the prices in this Vancouver Toronto game make absolutely no sense to me. So since about 10 minutes before halftime, Vancouver have been the best team here. I mean, if you're watching this game without knowing, who was favourites and league positions last year and things like that, you would sorry, there's a chance for Toronto as I say that. But yeah, you'd be looking at going like Vancouver are the better team here. And Vancouver are 4-1 to win the game, whereas Toronto are 6-4. And that chance that Toronto have had there is their first chance in 25 minutes. So I can't understand the discrepancies in prices there. They've got like Vancouver at 9-2 now. If anybody's just sitting there and wants to have a little bit of an interest on the game, I think that 9-2 is like a cracking price because, as I said, Toronto haven't been that impressive, even though they have the ability and they could turn it on the style and end up winning comfortably. But on the flow of the game at the minute, you wouldn't want to be on them.
And would you fancy
now.
another goal in general? Like there's plenty of time left.
I think there probably. Well, I mean, there probably will be like Vancouver. The only thing about Vancouver is they haven't been that clinical or haven't looked that clinical. But in terms of their attacking threat and like getting into Toronto's half, they're very good up until the 18-yard box. So yeah, I'd say another goal is probably a decent bet, but the 4-1 just sticks out as massive enough price.
Madrid are still 0-0 at home to Betis. Now, I know that the three of our bets didn't go all that well tonight, and sometimes it can be kind of, handy if you're going to lose an acca that you lose all the legs, and then the next week you win all the legs, rather than just the disappointment of one letting you down. But yeah, like Real are dominating the attacks and on top of the shots. I'm wondering, is like 13-8 good value for them with 20 minutes to go? It's probably not really worth chasing that one, given they haven't scored yet in the match. Where would they score in the last 15 or 20? But
yeah, I was watching bits of that game and Madrid were on top. But like again, I think 13-8 is probably a little bit skinny. You'd probably want 2-1 before going in, I would say.
I think so, yeah. And like you wouldn't know, like they might have one eye on the Champions League match next week against Chelsea, is it? Like I mean, they still have Modric and Benzema are both still on the pitch, like plenty others there too. So like it's not like they're resting players for next week, but they might just be kind of focusing on that a bit. I didn't, when I was in terms of placing the bet, I didn't think the Champions League would take over the focus, given they're 3 points off the lead of La Liga. It seemed like a good game, a home match to get joint top of the league. But maybe they are kind of looking ahead a small bit and not really focusing on tonight's game.
Yeah, that could be it. Still, as I said, there's like 15 minutes left, John, a bit of time. In the Brighton game, so if Nashville had have won, my bet would have been live. So the Maupay to score, Sassuolo to win, Toronto to win, and Nashville to win, that bet would have been still live. Maupay missed from, I'd say, 2.5 yards. Ball came across the box.
Oh, no.
Like all he had to do was tap it in, and he had it over the bar. So,
speaking of that, in the over 1.5 in the Samp game, Sampdoria had a pretty solid appeal for a penalty. It's kind of like what you said, Gary. The body position was maybe in the defender's favour. So it was a great ball back across the box. I forget which Sampdoria player now struck it beautifully towards goal. The defender kind of ducked out of the way and pulled his arms across his chest, but the ball was probably going in if it hadn't hit this guy's hand. But he was trying to get his hand out of the way. They checked it, no penalty. How that was no penalty, I don't know. But if the hand hadn't been there, it was going into the goal. So that would have given us the both teams to score, the over 1.5. So yeah, unfortunate. 89 minutes gone now, 90th minute. I don't see it. I don't see us another goal here.
I've just seen hands on heads from Slats. So Slats, did something happen in the game you're watching?
No, I thought I'd missed something, but I'm just looking, like, Benzema's still on the pitch. The way the Madrid game is going, like, Benzema's 5-1 to be the first goal scorer, and then if you just add that with Real to win 1-0, so basically Benzema's goal being the only goal of the game, it doubles it up to 10-1. I could just see that happening. Like, you know, I could just see Real sneaking a win here, given how it's going. They've been on top. 1-0 just seems like
the way the La Liga goes, they probably get a penalty in the 92nd minute, even if they're not winning, just to make sure they do.
Exactly, yeah. They're nearly. I mean, there was a bit of a penalty shout for Real there, so I guess that was the ref's chance to give it. But yeah, I think it went suspended then when I was trying to get on it, but it's freed up here again. So it's actually, it's just shy of 10-1.
Oh, Sampdoria nearly got it. Lovely play, but just ball into the box. The number 9 threw himself on the ground to flick the ball forward, and then whoever was running onto it just couldn't reach it. But it was a great chance for them. Ball back into the box here. 92.5 minutes gone. 4 minutes added on. No. Free out. This game is just one of those ones that if you'd backed over goals, it's a travesty really that you haven't got them. Let me see who this guy was. Who threw himself down? That was a great, but pushing it back. Yeah. Unlucky.
I'm trying to eke out a bit of value in the Toronto game here. I think there'd definitely be another goal looking at it. So, like, it's only 8-13 for the other goal. But I think Vancouver at 5-1 now would be the bet for me getting involved. And just as I said, at San Jose, so the Earthquakes have gone 1-0 up against Dallas. I'm not sure whether any of you saw that, but
they've been up 1-0 a little while there. Like,
so another penalty. So they got the penalty and missed it, and then they got this second penalty, and they changed the taker and scored it. So
did they change the penalty taker? Really?
Yeah.
The ball went out over the sideline, and one of the Sampdoria assistant managers just kicked it away, and the ref just ran straight over and sent him off. But like, he kind of had to lean into the dugout to send him off. It's kind of a bizarre thing to see. But 94 minutes now on the clock, so I think this one is as good as gone. I'd probably give Sam a throw here in a relatively dangerous area. Might give him one last chance. Shot. Deflected. Sass broken away now, so this game is going to end. Don't see anyone get it yet. Over. Yep, 1-0 Sassuolo. A lot of chances in that game. Not sure how it finished, but just the one goal. But there we go.
But you had the win side of your bet, right? Anyway, the goals look more of a certain than the result did in that one. Looking at the stats, like, so. I mean, you're going to hit those anomalies, like, with a lot of just missed opportunities and that. Like, there's plenty of chances in it anyway, looking at the figures, the stats there.
Oh, there are so many chances, yeah.
Yeah, from what you were saying during it, yeah.
Madrid starting to drift now. Vancouver. So big 12-5. I mean, they're not a huge price, but they are beginning to drift out there. So
decent price though, like, you know.
Yeah. Looking at them now, Vancouver, Madrid, and Brighton draw treble. I know that's probably the perfect definition of chasing there, but 3 of those together is getting serious.
Every market that we thought would be in our favor already, and then none of them are. So that's just
That's the thing. At what point does it go from value to lost cause?
desperation.
Yeah, like Brighton are just such a frustrating team. They're just like they can't score. They've been all over Sheffield United this half, and they just haven't been able to get the ball in the net apart from that offside goal. So
I'm going to throw a fiver on that, actually, on that treble. I said it's 90-1. Just seems very high for, you're watching that Vancouver game in detail, Gary. You've given us plenty of reason to believe Vancouver can do it. Brighton, Sheffield just basically laying Sheffield.
Yeah, get it on quickly there now, because Vancouver have a dangerous enough free kick here. So
have it on, have it on there. So
what's it, Vancouver to win, a draw in Brighton and a draw in Madrid?
No, Madrid to win.
Oh, Madrid to win, okay.
Yeah. Geez, the draw in Madrid must be fairly close to evens, I'd say.
Oh, it's 4-7.
Draw,
is it?
Yeah, 4-9.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which way I thought you were backing it. Go for Vancouver. 2-1.
Oh, yes. What a start to that bet. God, we were only talking during the week, that never happens. That it's always just before the bet the goal comes.
From that free kick as well. Great free kick in, header, down into the ground. The keeper couldn't do anything about it. So yeah, that was, could have even been an OG, was it? Let me just see here. Went over. No, it was a Vancouver goal. I thought that the defender might have got the final touch on it. But,
I mean, in the head-to-head now, that's both teams scored, yes. The over 2.5 is in, and the Vancouver draw is effectively given to me. So if the corners don't come in...
I think there's been 8 corners, so I'd need 3 more for even a 8-3 loss. Jeez, it's going to be 9-2. I think that's the biggest landslide of a game so far.
Yeah, so basically you were leading after 4 minutes because you got your corner in the first minute as well. So 4 minutes in, you were 2-1 up, and then I haven't looked back since. Only.
But it's mad. Like, I mean, Toronto will be kicked if they lose this game. They will be absolutely kicking themselves because they were all over them the first 20 minutes of the game. I said Vancouver couldn't really get out of their half. When they did get out of their half, they just didn't look threatening. I don't know what's happened to Toronto since, but they've just kind of gone off the boil, and Vancouver have been the dominant team. So hopefully they're able to hang on for your 5-1 LB. But if you're a Toronto fan, you'd be absolutely raging at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, for my 5-1 now, realistically Brighton are probably the biggest risk here. I mean, Madrid, the same lack of time, but Brighton probably are the biggest risk of all.
Yeah, so I'm watching that here as well. Like, again, Brighton are camped in Sheffield United's half. They actually have a good chance here, Danny Welbeck. Close to being a penalty if he had went down.
I'm not sure if you watched the Arsenal-Everton game, but there was 2 incidences with Ceballos, and he didn't go down in the first half. He was fouled, and he kind of just kept going, and then he didn't get near the ball. And in the second half, he kind of did go down and got the penalty, and then it got ruled out. And there was a debate on the TV afterwards about it. And it's basically all the pundits were saying, like, the way the game is gone, you might as well just dive if you feel the contact because everybody else is doing it. So you're at a disadvantage if you don't.
Yeah.
I thought it was tragic, though. You're just like, what a way to, I don't know. I feel like it's just...
But, I mean, that's been the attitude of players for years now, isn't it? Like,
probably the players, but not openly talked about, would have been my thinking there. I don't know. Anyway, it was just for the pundits to
the only way they'll tackle that is, with more punishments for any perception of diving at all, like to punish the player going down too easy.
Yeah.
They're gone to the water break in the Toronto-Vancouver game. But just on the, so I said I've been watching Brighton here, and they've just been camped in Sheffield United's half. If you look at the stats, so Brighton have had 18 shots to Sheffield United 7. They've had 66% possession. There's been 13 corners in the game, and 11 of those corners have been Brighton corners. Attacking wise, they're just all over them, 110 to 78 attacks. if they lose this game, it'll be a travesty. But it's just the way Brighton have been. Like it's mad the way they can play so well in games and dominate games. They just can't be clinical enough.
Yeah. Just on that, Gary, we've got a comment in on Facebook from Sean. Siobhan Parvez. You reckon you said Toronto there, so I assume you're saying Toronto are going to win, but you've said that a minute ago, so not sure how you think Toronto are going to win from here. Do you think they have a chance, or do you think they've been a bit unlucky? I know Gary reckons that they'll be kicking themselves. Do you feel the same way? Let us know what you're thinking there, Siobhan, and we'll discuss that a bit further.
And make sure to like the page or subscribe if you're on YouTube, Joanne.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I said, looking at the game here, there's still time for Toronto to come back, and like they've shown bits of class in the game, but it just seems like they went 1-0 up and like thought the game was done with, took the foot off the pedal, and like Joe, if the game ended now, you couldn't have any argument over the results. Like Vancouver have been the better team.
Did you get on that, Gary? You were saying a while ago Vancouver had been the better team for so long in the game, and they were out to 4-1 for the win. To
be honest, no, I didn't. I've just because I've been watching multiple games here, and yeah, I just think that I said the one I really fancied was the two draws, so the Brighton draw and the Vancouver draw, and obviously that's looking a little bit unlikely now. But again, when Vancouver were 5-1 in a game where they were the dominant team, it didn't make sense. It's definitely just priced up based on the perception of the teams rather than how the game was actually being played out. So.
That's definitely something we've talked about. I'm not sure if we've talked about it on this stream or if it's just been drunken pub conversations over the years, but there's definitely value in play for those type of games. You see a team come out, like the sort of teams that stick out to me as well would be like Arsenal, Spurs, Celtic, even PSG domestically, where they're big favourites in a game against kind of perceived lower level opposition, and they're not, you can just see from the first minute they're not at the races, and the odds don't adjust. Like they'll just chug along at that. Whatever you said, the algorithm is just obviously a straight line between 0 minutes and 90 minutes, and wherever they are, the odds will move along that line. And yeah, there's good value out there to go against that. We see it here with Toronto, Vancouver. Nobody watching that match could think Vancouver were a 5-1 shot, but there you go.
Yeah, speaking of 5-1 shots, it's the 88th minute in Madrid, and they're out to 5-1. So need to go fairly quickly there.
I'm watching that one. It's not a huge amount happening at the minute. Just a substitution.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I was looking at it myself. You wouldn't be getting on that 5-1. It doesn't even seem, like any sort of value bet there at all, or even a small punt sort of bet.
So there's about 20 minutes left in Vancouver game. They're looking very comfortable at this stage. Sorry,
not seeing.
Sorry, 13. Sorry, I thought it was 67, not 77. Sorry, the panel I have on the screen here because I'm watching a few games is fairly small. So yeah, there's actually 13 minutes left.
I just in my head, maybe because it's gone my way, I thought it was way closer to being finished. I was thinking, okay, a couple more minutes to hang on here.
Yeah, it's just pretty rare that we've all the markets bar one, to have been complete.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we don't. You've already given yourself the tick for the game result, but it's definitely.
I just think that yeah, sorry, I did get carried away there because I thought the game was further along. Madrid are really pushing on here. A lot of players forward, but they have no. In fairness, Betis are putting up, some serious resistance here. So, from the clips I've seen, they're good money for this draw.
Yeah, they've only lost one away game in their last 8 or something. I thought they would be a bit resilient, but Real have just been on decent form lately, and Real on form versus anyone outside the top kind of 4 in Liga, you'd be expecting a home win. But yeah, Betis are putting it up. They're defending well, in fairness to them.
Yeah.
So, do you think it's going to end 0-0?
Yeah.
Well, it's heading into injury time now, so I don't think it'll be any. It's 1-9 for the draw. Like, I don't think.
Oh no, Madrid are actually on a nice counter attack here. So, just like a Real Betis player slid in to pinch the ball off, I think, Modric's feet, off a centre mid's feet, and he ended up deflecting it forward for Real straight to Benzema. So it's just like, when your luck has gone against you. I mean, realistically, they're not going to score, but they're giving it a serious last year. 3 minutes only had it on, which I would have expected more just because of the teams involved. Weak cross into the box there.
I think it's going to end like that in Brighton as well, or sorry, in Sheffield. So Sheffield look like they're going to get Sheffield United look like they're going to get the win. Nice.
We said that at the start, like 17-10 for a team 1-0 up at home, just a mad price. But obviously the form for them, we're looking at the teams we talked about it. They're going down, and Fulham are probably going down. The difference in the kind of the reality they're both going to face in the Championship. Fulham are going to lose a significant portion of their squad. Sheffield I think Sheffield will be far more likely to come back up than Fulham anytime soon. Oh
yeah.
Oh, 2 chances there. Oh.
Yeah,
I just think Sheffield have been very unlucky recently.
Well, I think Fulham have a good squad, but their problem is they're going to lose a lot of them because I think they've got like 6 or 7 loanees, and they're going to be snapped up. And then the keeper Areola, there's talk of West Ham going in for him. They've Loftus-Cheek on loan. They have a couple of other the striker Maja is on loan, and then the guy Dicardova Reed, he's really impressed. So I can see a top club going in for him, or not one of the top ones, like top 6 or whatever. But I can see, I don't know, Brighton or somebody like that will go in for somebody like Dicardova Reed, I would say.
Sorry, I was having a sneezing fit there, but Vinicius Jr. just had an unbelievable chance for Madrid. Great run, great breakaway, slalomed up the pitch, got into the box, shot on. Tough shot, but then a missed 2. Maybe Benzema was completely free and lined up to an open goal because the keeper had come over to the left to take on Vinicius. And instead of just passing it to his teammate who was going to tap in for a guaranteed winner, he just tried to shoot it between the legs of 3 defenders, and it just trickled towards the goal line in the end, and the keeper scooped it up. So, yeah.
Is there any kind of like bitching between the players for not making that pass? Do
you know what? I don't know. The replay went straight back and showed a replay of his run, so I didn't actually see if there was any afters. 93-01, the game's been blown up, so that's that over. So my 5-1 Vancouver has been flushed away with the Madrid, but Benzema's just stormed off the pitch here.
In that game, though, in the Vancouver game, Toronto have just scored, and it is one of the most sloppy goals you will ever see. Like, a defender went to clear it, he deflected onto another defender who deflected it into the striker's path. The striker scuffed his shot.
One of those.
He was diving and panned it into his own goal. It was terrible.
Did any of you see Arsenal's own goal last night?
No. I heard it was a blunder by the keeper, was it?
Understatement. Like, Richarlison made it to the byline and just drilled it across the box. Not really sure what he was trying to do, and then Leno just stepped out over the ball and backheeled it into his own goal. It just, I don't know why he was stepping. I don't know why he moved his legs like that. It was just bizarre.
And if he'd left it run, there was nobody coming in to put pressure on or to knock it in.
There was one Everton player in the box, but probably wouldn't have reached it. And the ball was going at about 100 miles an hour anyway, so he would have very much struggled to do anything with it. There was about 4 Arsenal defenders all around him as well. So just a needless thing to do. So that is
I don't know if you know, LB, were there many, the 5 scores competition we do where, we pick 5 players to score goals in a weekend of the Premier League, and if you get off 5, you win the pot. It's the pot's
quite a few had Welbeck there. So is that game officially over?
That game is over now, yeah.
It's full time now, yeah. And then the Chelsea game earlier as well, just finished 1.
Very few people had that. Pulisic was picked once, maybe 2 Pulisic. Let me get it open here. 2 Pulisic, 2 Werner, Ziyech, and Souček. So that was all there was in that game.
Werner scored. Does that give that?
No, they were all. I'm pretty sure the Werner contingent were already out. So let me update this. Maybe one of you guys want to give our viewers who are still with us a quick rundown of the 5 scores before I do the update here and see who's left in it.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we've about 40 or 50 people competing. We throw in a fiver every week, and you pick 5 goal scorers to score in the Premier League. You can pick, like I went with Salah for 2 goals this weekend, and then 3 other scorers. I think I had Vardy, Cavani, and Watchalong. So it doesn't have to be 5 individuals, but it has to be 5 total goals that you're accounting for. And if you get those 5 scores scoring the goals, you win the pot. Given the numbers we have, it goes up by about 200 or 250 every week. And given the season that we've had, it's rolled and rolled since about game week 5. So the pot, I think if it's not won this week, the pot's going to be over $6,000.
Yeah.
Nice payday if somebody manages to pick it up. It can be shared as well, obviously, if more than one person gets 5 different goal scorers, and there's often obvious overlaps with people's picks. But it's a good crack. It's a good bit of fun to add to the Premier League weekend, like just to be keeping an eye on it. Like I was saying, I went with Salah for 2 goals this weekend, and he scored after 3 minutes, and I was feeling so confident that I was going to get, off to a good start, that he'd get the 2 goals and I'd have 3 left. But of course that finished 1-1. So
when I saw the early goal in the Liverpool match, I thought that I was sure it was going to be 1. I don't know if I actually said it to you, Gary. I think I was saying it to you, Slats, about the Arsenal match. Like I said it in the group. Yeah, like I picked Pepe, thinking that like Everton are, they're solid, but they make a lot of mistakes. I thought there'd very likely be an Arsenal penalty. Well, it could be an Arsenal penalty, and it would be almost certainly Pepe taking it. They got the penalty. He had the ball in his hand. He placed it. Then VAR got involved, went back for a kind of I don't know. An unbiased person probably called it a fair offside, but I thought it was a bit of a 50-50. But he was so close to actually taking the penalty. That was the sickening part for me.
I mean, along with Arsenal losing, was probably a bit of a sickener for you as well. But yeah.
So we're just into the last 3 minutes in the Toronto game. Toronto were on the attack here. They've kind of been on top since they got that goal, which, as I said, was lucky goal for Toronto, but like unbelievably bad defending from Vancouver. So if anybody's going to win it, it's going to be Toronto. But I say, obviously, at this stage, the most likely result is a draw.
Yeah, that was unlucky that you went. You doubled up the draw there with the draw in the Brighton game, didn't you? And,
well, I actually didn't get it on. That would have been my bet. Like watching the 2 games in play, I would have did that. That was 14-1, the double. So yeah, like I mean, obviously Brighton didn't pull it off, but I mean, Liam or Bodie, I suppose. What's your thoughts on Graham Potter as the Brighton manager? He must be coming under pressure. Like I know they're not going to get relegated, or well, they still might. They're 7 points clear, but like Fulham could pull closer to them. But it's probably still unlikely given their goal difference. So you could say they're 8 points clear.
I don't see them getting dragged into it in reality. Yeah, Fulham have been quite lucky recently. I just don't see them getting enough to catch them. The thing about Brighton is, like Potter, they have a limited squad, and tell me a manager who get more out of that squad. So I think they seem to be fairly realistic the Brighton kind of ownership and management, and what do? You get rid of Potter? Who do you bring in? I don't think that's their problem down there. He's probably under pressure as the nature of modern football.
I think they've been unlucky, but I think for a Premiership team to be so lacking in attacking threat and they play good football, but they just never look like winning. And when you're losing, when you're losing to Sheffield United, I know Man United lost to Sheffield United, so you can't just kind of make a blanket statement like this. But when you're losing to Sheffield United, who got 14 points all season, in a game where it matters and you need to win, win tonight would have put them basically safe, not mathematically safe, but they'd be 1,000 to 1 to go down.
Yeah,
and they go out and they can't get it, even though they had 70 or 80% of the possession and most of the shots. I just think it's a strange one, because it's not as if they don't have attacking talent. Like Trossard, I rate as a player. Maupay, I rate as a player. You've got Danny Welbeck, who's kind of proven Premiership player, Premiership striker. You've Aaron Connolly, who is kind of up and coming, and
But you know what you said there, right? It's actually kind of funny. You said earlier that they've been kind of playing well and they could have a big win in them. But Maupay, Trossard, Welbeck, they're all hit and miss kind of players. When they can do it for sure, and they do have periods in seasons where they're top quality. But then they've got very quiet periods as well. And I think that's Brighton's problem. There's no consistency up front for them. So they'll have days where they look fantastic and all their forwards, but they usually play with two of them. But even if three of them are there, they look sharp and they're really kind of top quality. But then you'll just go through periods where they're all not really at the races and they'll struggle. I think without a solid, 2 goals every 3 games kind of player, I don't see how you get anywhere near the top sort of 10 in the Premier League. I mean, look, where are Arsenal now? They're probably 10th, and they've got a pretty solid defense and 2 of the top 20 strikers in the league. How do you? And they're only 10th in the league. So how do you get above that level without I know you're saying Trossard is decent, Maupay is certainly a decent player, but how do you get beyond the that sort of scrap between 10th and 15th?
I'm kind of putting league position aside, because I give them credit for the style of play and the fact that they haven't really been trashed this season. They've been in most of the games they've played.
Yeah.
But can you class a full season? So they're 33 games into the season now. Can you class it as unlucky that they haven't been scoring, or is that down to the manager that he's not getting the team right or the tactics right or whatever it might be to bring more goals? Because it seems strange that they, for a team who, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I would hazard a guess that they have in and around the high 40s to low 50% possession in all of the games they've played this season. On average, they might average 40 or 49%.
I suppose, when you're talking about management, it depends what their ambition is to an extent. So, we were mentioning, comparing to Arsenal, if you look at Brighton, they've lost 12 games this season, and only the top 8. So Arsenal being 9th have lost 13, and everyone, including Arsenal and below, have lost more games than Brighton. Brighton have more draws than any other team in the Premier League. So, I mean, what I'm saying with ambition, if they're happy to take those draws and survive and get another season out of the Premier League, then you would say the management is doing a pretty good job. They've, they've less defeats than anyone on the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing. I think he's doing a good job. I think that Brighton team, and 3 of us sitting here drinking beers on a Friday night, I'm not belittling any of these players, but how do you get above 15th when your front 3 is Danny Welbeck, who lots of great memories watching Danny Welbeck at Arsenal, but Danny Welbeck, Trossard and Maupay, they don't get you beyond 10th under any circumstances. And then it's just a dogfight between 10th and 15th or 10th and 16th. And I think your management sets up to make sure that you just don't lose. I'd agree with you there. I know your point. You're saying that league position isn't the case. Is it just, are they playing well? I think he's doing an okay job with a very, very limited squad, would be my take on it.
Yeah, I said, I'm kind of on the fence in terms of I've watched a lot of Brighton games this season, and I've liked the way they played. But Sorry, I'm just watching the main game here, and it's the 94th minute, I think. And Vancouver had a breakaway attack after being under the cosh for the last couple of minutes, 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and the keeper made a good save, but it would have been a just result if Vancouver could have pulled it out of the bag in the last minute.
Yeah,
I can see that has resulted in the 11th corner of the game to give me the most dismal of consolation.
Crucial ones, lads. We give you the gold star on your homework, even though you failed.
Hopefully, if Toronto managed to go on the counter attack here and score and win the game, it would bring me back to a 7-4 defeat, which would be something.
Yeah, and it would
I think they actually hit the crossbar from the resulting corner. Oh, it was just over there. It hit the roof of the net. So there was 6 minutes added on here in this game. It's just 95 has hit the clock, so there's 1 minute left.
That's an 8-3 then in reality. So a nice one. Nice win there for me, and anyone who's new to the show will know we put 500 quid on the line each, so we're taking each other on here on a Friday night. Yeah, I get your point, Gary. I do like Brighton, the way they play. I kind of like them as a club. They do have some big performance in them every season, and they're usually quite pleasurable to watch. But I just think we don't want to get into the money side of sports now and all that. It's probably a standalone series of shows, never mind just the tail end of a Betalong. But financially, what do Brighton do? How do they get the players in that are going to make them anything other than their goal for the season is just not get relegated? I'm not sure how they do that, like a lot of the teams around them. So I think credit to Potter to just get them to the stage where they've never really been in doubt this season. And they, last season, am I getting confused now? Was it the season before where they were really, really in trouble for a while, and then they kind of rallied well and saved their season? So, I think get a couple of years up, just solidify everything, get the fans back next year, and build on from there. I don't see anything other than safety as a goal for them for the time being.
And if safety is your goal, then you would have to credit them for the low number of losses and the high number of draws. I'm not sure if you could say that their games, once they equalise or once they're level going into the last half hour, if they do tend to sit back. But if their goal is survival, you would have to say they've done a decent enough job of that in terms of those results.
Yeah, speaking of a decent job, and none of us can be included in this, but there's 8 guys left in the 5 scorers, and there is pretty much. I mean, there's a good treble you could put on. It's not a perfect hedge, but for us, you've got, I think 6 of the 8 have Vardy and Ollie Watkins. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 of the 8 have those 2, and then anyone who doesn't has either Bruno, and then you got one guy who's Iheanacho and Watkins and Bruno. So it's a pretty consistent kind of lot left. They all only have 1 out of 5, by the way, and that's Salah. That nobody's gone beyond Salah yet. So,
that's not crazy.
Yeah, actually, I don't think nobody in the entire thing has gone beyond Salah.
Just the Toronto game has ended, so it ended 2-2, but there was actually a decent little brawl at the end of the game as well. So it got quite spicy towards the end of the game.
What caused that, Gary?
I didn't really see, to be honest. With a minute to go, it seemed all calm, and then it must have just been something that was said after the game, because there wasn't any bad tackles or anything like that you could point out and say, that would be the reason. It just seemed to come out of nowhere, to be honest.
Oh, well, it's good to see that kind of passion early in the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Just looking at the other game in the MLS, the Earthquakes went up 2-0 on 49 minutes and then got a red card on 53 minutes. And Dallas have had a couple of chances since. I know 2-0 lead is sizable with 35 minutes on the clock, but they're 1-5 to win, and 9-2 for the draw there. Again, we've spoken about avoiding games where there's a red card. But surely if you're Dallas, I mean, you're up against 10 now and you're 2-0 down, you got to go for that. You got to, go at them. And, you'd expect certainly a fight back, a couple of goals. I don't know. I think 9-2 isn't bad value for a draw there. But, who knows?
No, not at
Red
all.
card, what way to go?
I wonder, is goals the safer play?
Maybe. I was looking at goals as well, but you're only getting 2-7 for one more.
That's crap.
31-20 for two more. But then the issue with that is, are the Earthquakes really going to push for another goal? If there's going to be two goals, how likely is it that the Earthquakes get one of them with 10 men on the pitch? Surely they're just trying to hold on to that 2-0 lead. So I would say the bet would be small stakes on 9-2 rather than anything on 23-10 or whatever it was there.
Yeah.
31-20. Sorry, yeah, for two more goals.
Interesting. Do anybody have any bets over the weekend they wanted to call out before we start wrapping the show up? Kind of any tips or any particular games you're going to look at, or?
Well, just in the MLS tonight, I think that there's a lot of the home teams are priced up reasonably well. So I'm going to leave the LA game, so the LAFC game, alone. But looking at it, I think Atlanta, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Portland, Colorado, and LA Galaxy, like, they all have fairly good chances, and the lowest price there is 3-4. But a couple of those are above even. So the Portland Timbers and LA Galaxy specifically are above evens. The Galaxy going on the road last week and beating Inter Miami. Chicharito getting off the
great to see him back to his old self.
Scoring 2 goals. I think that, like, they're 23-20 at home to the New York Red Bulls. I think that's a good price. So probably not all of those home teams are going to win, those 6 that I called out, but a mix and match of doubles and trebles in them, I think, would be decent bet. So I'm going to have a look tonight, and I'll do a few of those. And then one thing to call out. So again, probably need to look at the our socials for this tomorrow. But we have got a good promotion from kind of betting partners here at SportsRunDown. So William Hill, and they're giving a odds on to lift the trophy tomorrow in the Spurs versus Man City League Cup final. So Man City to lift the trophy is 25-1, and Spurs to lift the trophy is 60-1. So you're taking draw out of that equation. It's to lift the trophy, whether it's 90 minutes, extra time, penalties, either of those sides to win the trophy. So I said, have a look at our socials tomorrow. We'll be posting that throughout the day. Click on the link, set up a new account. It's mobile only, so you will need your mobile phone. But I said, pick your team. Man City at 25-1 seems like an absolute banker. Like, considering to lift the trophy, it's not just 90 minutes. But yeah, as I said, I'd call that out before we close, Albie.
Yeah, I like that one. For me, there's an early game tomorrow, by the way, in the SerieA. So actually, any SerieA fans or just looking for a bit of betting value, get over to the site. Enzo Chatmani, or their SerieA specialist, has got some bets up there. His treble, I think the first leg is 1, and then the 3.5 goals in the Parma game, and then there's 2 more tomorrow. The both teams to score in the Juve win looks like a great one. But aside from that, just Benevento, for me, they're 9-4 at home to Udinese. Udinese's form isn't great. I think they've lost 4 of their last 5. Udinese have nothing to play for. Benevento, if they win, they're mathematically safe, I think, or they're very close to it. But they really need to win because they're drifting into the relegation battle anyway. So they have everything to play for. They can kind of pull some results out of nowhere. I think they've a couple of draws recently, but they're playing quite well. And I just think 9-4 at home in the early kickoff, Udinese won't give a shit about this match. It's a long old trip or whatever. Early in the morning, I think it's a Benevento win at 9-4. It's a big price there. So going to back that. I usually miss the 11:30 Sunday games in Italy because of sleeping in. So better get that bet on tonight.
Sleeping in, otherwise known as hangovers.
Yeah. The Corona sleep in. So Yeah, that's my early bet tomorrow. The rest of the games, we like you said, Gary, we'll update the socials as the day goes on.
And sorry, one more for me to call out as well. And again, it's in the Premier League rundown. So if you're interested in seeing my rundown of tomorrow's games and Monday's game in the Premier League, you can go on to sportsrundown.com and see that. But I call out like every game. I've given my opinion on the bets. But my best bet tomorrow, I think, is Cavani at 13-10 in the game against Leeds. I think that could turn into a bit of a goal fest. And Cavani has scored his last, I think it's 2 games now for United. It might even be 3 in a row for United. So to me, that looks like a good bet.
Yeah, there's actually great value around tomorrow in a lot of the leagues. If you look at some of those kind of, lower in the table teams to pick up wins and kind of odd markets then like shots and goals. So yeah, plenty of value. So keep an eye on the page. All right, well, look, it was a pleasure tonight. I'm back to winning ways in the head-to-head. Slats took a bit of a paste in there, thankfully.
Maintaining losing ways, yeah.
Yeah, so the 20 quid challenge didn't really get going tonight, but we, bit unlucky in the 2 games the way they panned out. So, good calls like a lot of the bets, but didn't really quite make it. So we'll be back the same time next week for the 8 p.m. / 3 p.m. Eastern and MLS game. So yeah, follow the socials, like and subscribe to the page. And if you have any questions, let us know either on social media, drop us an email, whatever you want to do, and we'll happily discuss whatever it is you're looking at next week. So thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you like the new look, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.